before the episode, tell you that we did have some technical issues going on while recording this episode, where our interface kind of cut out, I think like 5 times during the episode, so that was pretty awesome. And yeah, currently editing it right now. But yes, I just wanted to come tell you that there are probably going to be some weird edits and chops in the episode. Did my best to kind of work around what happened, but yeah, that's what happened. So don't when you're watching this, don't be like, what the fuck happened? Because yeah, I'm telling you right now. So yeah, thank you very much for clicking on the episode, and hope you enjoy.
Yeah, I know the guy with the big old metal arms.
Yeah, I know the guy with the metal arms.
There's the guy that goes, wheel!
Yeah, the guy who throws his hat. There's the guy who goes, get over here. There's
cold guy. There's frozen guy.
Cold guy, fire guy,
Uh-huh.
teeth girl. We talked about teeth girl.
There's
Arms guy.
there's the dude that looks like he's like the Pokemon. You know, the Pokemon that has like the bone fucking thing on his head.
Yeah,
there's
that's
that
right.
guy.
Yes, him. Pokemon bonehead guy.
Pokemon. What's that Pokemon called, dude? What is that Pokemon called?
Yeah, I don't know Mortal Kombat names.
Now I'm interested in what that Pokemon is called. Let us know down in the comments. Pokemon with bone mask. There we go. Cubone.
Cubone.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
Nice.
big Cubone guy.
Big Cubone
like it.
guy. I
Yeah.
like it.
Wasn't a big Pokemon person, as you can tell.
Me
Yeah.
neither. I played like one Pokemon game when I was little, and I think that was about it. I mean, I like it. Whichever, it's up to you.
There's regular margarita or there's strawberry margarita?
You know, you're always such a gracious host and let me choose. Today, I would love it if you would choose. What would you like?
I feel like you're a strawberry guy.
Ah, God damn it.
Are you not a strawberry
No,
guy?
I am. I said you pick. You're like, you'll like strawberry.
Yeah, that's what I'm picking what you're going to like,
Okay, yeah, there you
motherfucker.
go. Fair enough.
You're going to like this.
Yeah, you know, I like it. I always like feel like that's a nice move when you're on a date, you know? It's like, I'm having this. She'll be having this.
That's nice.
You know what I mean? Only if you know, though. Don't fuck it up.
Yeah, no.
Like that's
She's
not
all,
what
you
I
dumb
wanted."
shit? I don't like that.
How embarrassing would that be? You're like, the lady will have blah, 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 blah. She's like, actually, no, I don't want to eat that.
I'm dumb.
Yeah, I'm going to have this instead.
Yeah, we got the Jose Cuervo cocktails today.
Yeah, this is a new addition to the podcast.
Yeah,
We've never
I
tried
was-
these, right?
I was going through the windmill today, and I was like, what are we going to drink today? I was like, we've had the Twisted Teas a few episodes.
Yeah.
We've, had our stint with the Cayman Jacks. Not that they
Yes.
won't make the return.
No, they are
but,
popular.
You know.
Have to have the ASMR drink in there.
Oh, this is good.
That is also very good.
Wow.
Super good. You know me, I'm always a big fan of being able to taste the alcohol at least a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
not a ton, but juice is dangerous.
Yeah, I think that's why I like the Twisted Teas a little bit more, because you do get that little kick of the vodka. I'm assuming
yeah.
that's what's in there.
I think so.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to put tequila in iced tea.
No.
I mean, you can, but I don't know if it's going to be like the best.
No, it's just
thing.
better with squirt or just grapefruit,
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
It has its pairings, everything does.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's that fine line. There's the Cayman Jacks that you really can't taste the alcohol, and then there's the Cutwaters where you can really taste the
Those
alcohol.
are intense, yeah.
So it's like,
They're also like double too, right?
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
Cayman Jack's like what, 5 to 6%?
yeah,
Yeah, and then I think the cutthroat. I was gonna say cutthroats.
the Cutthroats.
The
might as well be
yeah,
Cutthroat.
yeah. Those are like 10%, like 11% or something.
The new Call of Duty game mode.
Cutthroat. I tried it once. I hated it. Didn't want to play it.
It was
again.
okay. It wasn't bad.
I just feel like the maps are too small for what you're trying to do. The only one I didn't get to play on it, but the only one I feel like I would enjoy it on is like Estate. But
I honestly didn't like it on that. I
On
kind of
Estate? Okay.
I kind of liked it on the smaller maps because I did like the oh shit,
faster.
you just ran into somebody,
Yeah.
I was enjoying it. I will say it wasn't my favorite, but I think it will be fun if you like get a squad of 3 homies.
Sure.
And you're just like,
that
all
could
right.
be it too. Yeah.
you know.
Because I was playing solo and like there's no coordination or anything.
Yeah. I was, and like sometimes when I'm like, I have my mic, but I just don't want to fucking talk to people.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and I'm just like, I really don't.
I
you know?
never talk to people.
Yeah.
Like not randos in the lobby. I just play silently. I don't
There
give a
was
fuck.
some dude who I was playing. He's like, "Hey, right boy, you got a mic?" And he's like, "Nope." All right. And I was sitting there like, I got a mic.
I do, but
I just don't want
wanna
to talk to you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like as soon as I played it, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. It's like crack, quick, fast matches of.
S&D or something like that.
Well, I was even going to say like more battle royale. because it's like
yeah.
multiple teams of small squads like just charging at each other. So I feel like it's like that quick fix. It's like,
yeah, and you do get down, you can revive people.
yeah. You're like, I don't want to play for fucking an hour and a half, an hour game or whatever, like going through all these teams. So we'll just do it quick.
Yeah, that's true.
It's cool. It's a good idea. It's just not for me.
Yeah,
I wasn't enjoying it.
Exactly. Did you enjoy being back on the old Modern Warfare 2 maps?
Absolutely. It was fucking awesome. It's really good. I don't know, like, once the beta's over, I'm going to probably leave Call of Duty, like, downloaded on there anyways, so I can just keep playing, like, the MW2 multiplayer. But it just feels like the old games. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but, like, or, like, a good blend of the two, I should say. Like, the last one, I think, was, like, closer than, like, anything I've played in the past, like, I don't know, probably, like, 10 years. But, I don't know. Something about this one just feels, like, very Modern Warfare 3. It doesn't really feel like Modern Warfare 2. It reminds me of Modern Warfare 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the multiplayer, the way the guns feel, just like, I don't know, even just like the hit markers, bro. Like, and
feel
like,
nice.
They do. I told you too. Like, even just like the XP that pops up when you kill somebody, like
it's
the
like the
sound
OG.
effect, and I was like, oh god, this is good. This is juicy.
Because I feel like for a long time, because they remastered Modern Warfare, like they actually remastered it to where it was like the regular game, but just updated graphics, everything like that. Yeah. And I think for a long time, everyone's just been like, where's Modern Warfare 2?
Sure.
You know, because it's like, that's probably
one
of the best Call of Duties.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
Modern Warfare 2 to Modern Warfare 3 to Black Ops 2 was probably the like golden age, like the run of Call of Duty for sure.
It's pretty solid.
That was the like, I'm probably Modern Warfare as well. You throw in Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 2, and that's probably the run.
Modern Warfare like is, I think, still good. The only thing was that like Modern Warfare was like lawless. Like it was like the Wild West. Bro.
Yeah.
Like there was like balancing issues to the fucking max. Like some shit would just destroy and that was it. Like I think, what was it? Whatever perk used to give you like piercing rounds.
Oh, I think it was Stopping Power.
Stopping Power, I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, was like fucking overpowered in COD 4. It was ridiculous in multiplayer.
But you also had shit like Juggernaut that was like a perk.
Yes, also like, insane. And that lasted till like MW2. Yeah. Like I'm pretty sure Juggernaut might have even been in MW3, no?
No. I think by that time.
No, 2, I'm pretty sure 2, I thought it was still in there. But 3, they turned it into the kill streak for sure. Because then it was like you launched in as the Juggernaut.
I can't remember. I really don't think they had freaking Juggernaut because I'm trying to think the red perks. I know they had
Stopping Power.
They had Stopping Power.
Yeah, they had like Cold-Blooded.
They had Cold-Blooded. They had some other shit, but I don't think they had Juggernaut. Okay. I remember they had like that shit. What was it called? Like Bling or something like that, where you had like you had like the pack on like that was your secondary, and when you switch that, you can switch your classes.
Oh, that's
like,
right.
You know,
yeah,
you
that
could do
was
that
insane.
One,
yeah, it
where
was like a whole
just,
class switch.
Yeah, people just like set up noob ones where they would just would do that. They had
was crazy.
Commando Pro. That was like probably one of the craziest perks where you just lunge.
Yeah, that was insane.
Like the most like non. Like realistic thing ever of someone just like lunging 10 feet.
But you know, that's like part of
what makes
the
it
charm.
great. Yeah.
That's part because like what I stopped liking so much about like the newer games, which like this one, I don't know. Again, it feels like a blend, I guess. But like they went the Battlefield road a little bit, in my opinion. It still feels like Call of Duty, right? Like I'm not saying it's like as slow as Battlefield, but like they went the more realistic approach with stuff. Like your perks are like tack vests now, and like
covert sneakers.
Like,
I like
the
that, dude.
That's cool. I do like the
so
sneakers.
Let me throw my sneakers on right now.
I will say this again. I think it's a good marriage, right? That like we're getting perks back in like a very classic way, where they let you do stupid shit. Like your footsteps are completely silent. Like I feel like for a while it was like your footsteps are quieter. Like nothing would actually give you silence, but this one's like, nope, you're good. You're gonna be completely silent. And then again, it's like goofy. It's like sneakers, like silent sneakers.
And this is like the first time in like a couple Call of Duties that they've had because that's dead silence technically, or like Ninja Pro, whatever.
Yes,
And that's essentially that perk. But like the past couple Call of Duties, they've had it as like the field upgrades. You know, your field upgrade, you have like your your armor box.
You drop it out or whatever.
Yeah. So they used to have dead silence as a field upgrade. So you would periodically get it through your round, but you wouldn't always have it. And that was like a big thing that like major Call of Duty heads were like, fucking add this back, man. Like it doesn't, you know, like
it's good.
There's an aspect of like being sneaky to Call of Duty that's so fun.
I was gonna say the thing that like made me the most excited about seeing that back in there is that like If it's still up, I actually might try it tonight because
Oh no, it's not up.
It's gone now. The beta's done. Okay,
gone
I was able to play last night, and it didn't boot me off even after midnight. So I was like, maybe it's still today.
Yeah, I think it ended today at like
4,
10 or something like that.
Oh, okay. I thought it'd be early in the morning.
Yeah,
but,
it goes to like 1 Eastern, so like 10.
Okay,
Pacific,
yeah. But when the game comes out, anyway, still I want to try it. But one of my favorite fucking things to do back in. Like I think Modern Warfare 2 probably for the most part was ninja diffusing in S&D. It's just like the most hilarious thing in the world to me. Like I used to love cracking up at videos of it, and then like I got good enough to like do it eventually too. So I really hope that comes back.
Oh yeah,
that shit's
I've already seen clips of it.
Good, because that shit's fucking funny.
You can tell Call of Duty is coming back because there's been clips of that, and there's people like 360 YYing off the high rise. And doing that and hitting it. And I'm like, okay,
here we go.
Here we go. This is what we've all been waiting for. And I think, honestly, I've watched a lot of like Call of Duty like content creators the past week because once I get into Call of Duty, I'm fully back in it. I'm like, I'm watching this, I'm watching that, and for the most part, a lot of them have been like, this is fucking good.
It is.
Like,
no, it's exciting.
A lot better than Modern Warfare 2, like the last game that came out.
Which I thought was still pretty good. Like
it was fun.
I didn't think Modern Warfare 2 was bad.
Yeah, but I think if you went from Modern Warfare to Modern Warfare 2, where you got used to like the movement of Modern Warfare 2019, and then you went to Modern Warfare 2 where they like stripped all that out.
It a little bit,
you're like, because there was no like slide canceling. I bet you when you got on, you saw just a bunch of heads just fucking sliding and doing a bunch of fucking shit.
Yeah, 100%.
Just cracked ass little kids.
Yeah.
Granted, I do that shit, but it's just like I gotta keep up with the cracked little kids.
That's the other blend too, right? Because it's like that feels, it's like a throwback to 2019, but it's weird because to me that feels like a more future, like modern edition.
Yeah,
because that reminds me of like some Apex shit where it's like movement's a lot heavier, or like obviously it's not as in depth as that or anything, but I'm not super good at that shit. I'm more like
you really gotta like switch your controls around,
or whatever you're doing,
because you gotta slide and then jump right after.
So you have to have bumper jumper on or what?
Yeah, so I turn it. I like custom my fucking. I basically do tactical, but I put my jump on my
LF bumper?
L2.
Oh, L2.
And then I put my like my flashes or whatever on X or something.
What do you
like that.
aim with? Do you aim with
L1,
the bumpers?
L1, R1.
Oh, you don't do the triggers.
I don't, dude. I really don't like that.
I like the triggers.
I don't like it at all.
I'm a real big sucker though for the adaptive controller in general, and the guns feel really good with the triggers.
See, I turn the vibration off whenever.
Yeah, I know that's like a pro move. I know, because it's like, oh, your hands will shake, but I don't give a fuck.
I do it just because I already have bad aim.
Okay,
so it's like I'd be terrible at the fucking game.
I'm okay. Like it's funny because like as long as I'm not tired, I'm pretty good at COD. But as soon as I start to get tired, I fucking plummet super hardcore. Because usually I'll get on and like my first 2 games, I'm like, I'm a fucking god, bro. I'm like whatever. And then after that, I'm just frustrated for the rest of the night.
Dude,
and it's like over. So like, I don't know. I just need to limit myself to playing like 2 or 3 games. Or something.
Exactly.
But it's hard. You get in and you're like, okay, but if I level up, I'll unlock this.
Dude, and that's what's so addicting is like I leveled up so many guns in the beta. Like I leveled up like almost all the ARs.
Nice.
A couple of the subs I pretty much leveled up. I think I leveled up the longbow sniper.
Oh, nice.
And
can you quick scope?
Yes, you can.
Is there stuff that lets you scope in quicker? Like attachments and shit?
So you have to fuck with all the different attachments. That's probably new to you a little bit as well.
I remember.
Not super new.
I remember from MW2 that like there's all of like the pros and cons, and like the more attachments you put on, like the more shit's gonna like drag you
But
down.
you've probably never gone super in depth on like, fuck, what does this do? What does that do? Like really building one out, maybe? I don't know.
I did in the last game only because last year, like when you told me about it, we played like only a couple games, but I did drop back in super hard too. So like I was on YouTube watching all of the like I remember for a little bit it was better to just run like little to no attachments because of like how big the setbacks were and stuff like that. So like it is a trip, but like I'm also weary of it because like again like I feel like an old COD head where it's like, fuck you. If I unlock an attachment, just let me fucking use it. Like, don't be a bitch about like, okay, it's going to be faster for this, but this is going to be slower. I'm like, fuck you. How about I just put it on there and don't give me either of them? Like, I just want a red dot sight.
That's true.
Some shit, you know? Like, I just want more magazine. Like, that's all.
But yeah, you do have to like mess around with like, okay, I got to put this barrel on because it's going to make my aim down sight a little bit faster. I got to put this grip on. I got to put, do this. So you do kind of have to spend a little time and really be like, okay, what do I want to do with my sniper?
It's weird. It almost feels like RPG-ish because it's like you're like managing stats.
Yeah.
Which again is just like something I personally don't really want. And you know what I would love if for whatever reason somebody who has access to like, who's making this one?
Sledgehammer.
Make just like a sub-hardcore mode where it's like none of that shit. Just let me use my stuff without any of the stats shit whatsoever. Perks are fine. Everything else is fine. Whatever. The guns, just leave them completely normal.
Yeah, I do miss I just want to unlock this because it looks fucking sick on my gun.
Yeah, but then I work to unlock it, right? And then I put it on there and it's like, yeah, but your fucking sprint to fucking aim speed is way reduced.
That's what I'm saying.
And that's all I want. Yeah.
I miss from old school MW2 where it's just like, fuck, I gotta work to get this red dot sight because this red dot sight looks sick.
Yeah, Yeah, I miss it. Yeah.
Versus okay, I gotta unlock this grip because if I get this grip, then I'll scope in 0.2 seconds a little bit faster, which makes a big difference in the game.
It does. No, because that's the thing that I it's just muscle memory from the last game. So I don't know if it's changed or not in terms of how they've balanced thing out. But in general, it feels like in any game you would want fast aim down sight ADS, right? From sprint to aim and then from aim to ADS or whatever. So
I don't know anyone who's ever I want to scope in just a little bit slower.
Yeah, that seems stupid. So and it's just such a fast-paced game too. Nobody's sitting back calling shots or anything. Everybody's rushing and being he's over here, blah blah. Yeah. So you just want to be quick.
Yeah, you're if you're publicly playing it, you're just playing regular
casually,
dominate. Yeah, just casually playing domination or hardpoint. You want to scope in fast because especially me, I'm a fucking crackhead. I'm running around the fucking map.
All the time,
I'm just fucking. I'm here.
I attack sprint everywhere too, which is bad. I need to get out of the habit of once I come in close quarters, all right, slow the fuck down because I'm just charging into a room and then I can't even get my gun down before I'm killed and shit. So it's bad. Yeah.
I will say what I do really like about this game. I don't know if did you get into the what was it? The weapon kits. So there's the Renetti pistol that has a weapon kit, and there's an LNG that has a weapon kit.
I didn't unlock any of them, and not in the last game either. But it's the pre-customized ones, right?
Yeah, I don't remember if I didn't play Modern Warfare 2 too much.
I think it did have some.
Yeah, I think they did.
Yeah, it's in the gunsmith shit, right? They have some that are already pre-built with a bunch of attachments and stuff.
So I think this one's different. So the Renetti pistol, the weapon kit turns it into a submachine gun.
Oh,
almost.
Trippy. Okay.
So I was fucking with that so much because it's now I just have a sub.
It gets a stock and a bunch of shit or what?
Yeah, it gets a stock and the initial barrel has 15 bullets, but then you upgrade it, and if you fully upgrade it, it has a 50 round drum.
Oh shit!
So I would slap that on for my secondary and just any other fucking gun.
You
it's
just
just
had a submachine gun on your back.
So
cool. That's awesome.
So I liked that a lot. That was pretty fucking sick. But
I only fucked with a couple of guns, to be perfectly honest with you. I tried everything that I unlocked, and I didn't level up a lot. I think I was level 16 or something like that when I stopped playing. So I didn't get everything, but the only ones that I really liked was I think it was it reminded me of the UMP.
Oh, the Striker?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's the fucking UMP. Fuck you for changing the names. I don't like it.
All right. I do not know what the fuck happened there, but we just cut out for a bit. That was so weird. What happened? I want to know what happened. That was
I don't
weird.
know. Maybe power spike and this turned off on and off really quickly.
Oh, did it?
I don't know. I'm saying maybe because it said our last selected audio interface was not connected, which is that thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So something happened from there.
That was weird.
Anyway.
But let's finish up our Modern Warfare 2 talk because people are going to be these fucking nerds.
It's awesome.
Talking about their games.
It's really good.
But guys, that's because this is Too High for TV, where two guys get too high and talk about a little bit too much TV. And we're not limited to TV, motherfuckers. We're not in this box that you guys
we
like
mostly
to put
talk about movies anyway.
Yeah. But, we talk about anything, any visual media we fucking talk about.
Pretty much.
That's TV. That's movies.
Yep.
That's video games.
Yep.
That's pornography.
YouTube videos.
That's YouTube videos.
TikToks.
That's TikToks. Instagram Reels.
YouTube Shorts.
YouTube Shorts.
Instagram Shorts. No. Facebook Shorts.
Facebook Shorts.
All the shorts.
Facebook Lives.
Yeah.
Periscopes.
Everything. Be reals.
I don't even know if Periscope's still around.
I don't even know what that is.
It was I think it was integrated into Twitter, but it was basically allowed you to go live. So you could go live on Twitter through Periscope.
Wait, in a video still?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I was not like big on Twitter. I think it was like a little too fast for me, to be perfectly honest. I feel like the
Twitter, dude.
I feel like the chain of information is like Twitter, Instagram, like Facebook, everything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it like trickles down almost.
Yeah. More technical difficulties. We don't know what the fuck is going
happening.
On. Hopefully it doesn't fuck up. I don't know what's going on.
It's spooky Halloween bugs. That's all it is.
That's never happened. Yeah, spooky Halloween vibes. But
that's it.
Modern Warfare 3.
It's really good.
It's really good.
It's really fun.
Go pre-order if you guys want. Go buy it if you guys want. I think it's fun. Granted, I just like Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Anytime a Call of Duty comes out, if it's bad, it's bad. If it's good, it's good.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna fucking play it for the nostalgia. I love me some Call of Duty.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't played the last few ones, but I'm still a Call of Duty fan at heart. So.
Exactly.
So yeah, I'm gonna play it. But it is good though. I'm curious what like other like big like multiplayer game heads like think of this one if they've played it or not, you know?
Like if they what do you mean?
Like I don't know, like maybe they don't even play the same shit, but you know, like Apex players or like this game players or whatever, like if they're touching Call of Duty or not. Because I think
it just depends. I think like if you play Apex, you probably like more battle royale, so you're probably not shooting for like the multiplayer on Call of Duty.
Maybe you'll play like Warzone or something. I also just imagine that like there has to be the players out there that are like just playing. They're just fiends. They're just like, I'm gonna play anything that comes out.
I just want to make sure we're fucking.
Okay. Cool.
Sorry for all the headphone users out there. I just wanted to make sure we wwere. Cause I hate when like we record and it doesn't like show us like.
You can scrunch that one open, right there. The top, the arrows up and down to the right.
Right here.
One more, that one. Open that up, and then we can see all our waves.
I like that
a little better.
I hate when I can't see the waves. It makes me feel like I'm not fucking doing anything.
Got to see the waves, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had this crazy idea where like. So, I have this idea for. I think I told you. I have a idea for an animated show. Where
called the Boondocks.
Called the Boondocks. Yeah. Where without getting into it too much. Essentially, it'll be like a probably pretty regular shonen animation type fighting thing, based on like fighting powers through music.
Ooh.
So the music that copyright motherfucker, okay? If you hear about this shit and you're better animator than me, fuck you. I'm on my way. Don't steal my shit. But basically, like when people fight, they develop certain fighting styles that go along with like certain music styles. And so the music that you would hear in the show is like actually generated by the fighting that's happening on screen. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Okay? Don't steal my shit. Fuck you. Back off. But I had an idea today of like, and it's funny how you're talking about the detective guy actually from Gen V, because when I was in the car today, I was like, what if there was a dude who like his music power is like some detective noir, like boom, boom, shit, but he's a detective, you know, like he still produces music when he like taps into his power, but it's like a different type of power. It's not like some fighting shit or whatever. And I was,
he's all investigating. People are like, do you hear that music? And he's like, what are you talking about?
In my head, I was just like imagining like fucking. Like, you know how, like, in anime, like, when something happens that's, like, more complicated than they can show in a couple frames, they, like, have them just narrate what's going on.
Yeah.
And they just, like, talk about, like, this bobbity-bob makes this. And that's why, I just imagined a monologue in my head of this dude, basically, like, his power is, like, if somebody dies, he can, like, tap into their, like, eardrums with his power and, like detect the frequencies that have like hit those eardrums and like know what people said to him and shit. So he can like get their last words and stuff. You know what I mean?
That's pretty fucking.
That's like
cool.
part of his power and shit. So yeah, just a random idea.
It's pretty fucking dope.
There's more stuff too. I have a somewhat of a little thing going with it, but
I like that.
Yeah, I have like 2 like random little like story worlds that I've been trying to like make. And like just figure out like prototype ways to try it, because I want to actually like do them legit when I have proper resources to try them.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's one of them. I don't know. I kind of want to call it Battle of the Bands, because it's like, well, yeah. Anyway, not this for another day when the idea is more fleshed out. But yeah. Speaking of, as we transition out of Modern Warfare 3, there was a lot of trailers that have come out in the last few weeks.
There were. What trailers have come out?
We saw Scott Pilgrim Takes Off.
Oh yes.
Invincible. There's a new Spider-Man 2 trailer.
Ooh, yes.
I don't know if you watched that or not.
I don't think I did.
I thought there was another one. Didn't we send like 2 back and forth over like the last week?
Possible.
Or maybe it was that Omni-Man thing.
Yeah, it was the Omni-Man thing. I also sent you that that new like Minecraft like Star Wars fucking shit that's gonna go down.
Cool. I'm gonna have to log back into some Minecraft
dude,
for that.
That's what I thought too. That looks so fucking cool.
Yeah, just become a Padawan and like learn how to be a Jedi in Minecraft.
Yeah. They're like, hey, you want to play this Star Wars game that's not from anybody in Star Wars?
Mojang, baby.
Yeah. Mojang, motherfucker.
Yeah. But yeah, the trailer's got me all hyped. Invincible looks really good.
Dude, it looks so fucking
really
good, dude.
I'm excited.
Yeah. I mean, I've been fucking waiting for some fucking Invincible for a long fucking time.
Oh, big time.
We've been talking about some Invincible.
Yeah. I think like I have been very weary about season 2 just because of like, for one, how long it's taken them to make, and then for 2, just like all of the different pushbacks and like, oh, we're coming, and like, here's a trailer, but it's just like just a teaser. It's a meta joke about it, or you know what I mean? So like, I was
a joke about how we've been taking so long to come out with the season.
Exactly. So I was a little worried, but I'm excited. This trailer gets me hyped, and I think there was a hard date, right, at the end of it, or am I tripping?
I don't remember if I saw. Oh, I think like November something. Yeah, I think November 3rd or something.
It's coming out this year.
Yes,
before the year is over. So I am excited. Within like a month. So
yeah,
that's awesome. I can't wait.
No, yeah, that looks super fucking good. Obviously, they like showed a bunch more shit. Like, we're obviously gonna get into the aftermath of the Omni-Man and Invincible fight.
Yeah.
And we have Invincible revisiting where he got the shit fucking beat out of him, and you
back
still
to
see
the scene of the crime.
you still see the blood there.
Yeah, it's hardcore.
You get him really like. We're gonna get this story about how Mark feels about how his dad, now that he's found out who his dad was, he's always wanted to be like his dad.
Now that's shattered, dude.
Now that's shattered, man. Now he's gonna try to figure out who does he want?
Who does Mark want?
Who does Mark want to be? Now that the veil has been dropped from his eyes and he knows what his dad truly is. Now how is Mark gonna deal with that?
Yeah.
I loved that we saw fucking Alan the alien fucking travel back to wherever he. Traveling back from was telling people about Mark. He's like, nah, he's a good Viltrumite. Like,
he's cool, man. Don't worry. Yeah.
We're gonna get the fucking War of the Marks or whatever that's fucking called.
So one thing that like, cause I've not read, but watched a bunch of videos about like the continued Invincible like storyline. I don't really know where things fall timeline wise though, like overall, to be perfectly honest with you. So like, I'm kind of excited to see like. Be somewhat surprised, because like I have general familiarity with the events that are going to happen, but I don't know when they're going to happen.
Exactly.
And I also heard too, if I'm not mistaken, that like because the writer of the comic books is like pretty heavily involved. I think he's actually writing the show, and I feel like I remember even back in season 1, him saying like. I did this once, and I know now what I wouldn't do and what I'd do different, what we can do better. So we're going to do that in the show. It's not going to be like a 1-for-1 copy for what the comic book was, which is cool.
Because I think he came out with a comic when he was rather just young himself.
Okay. So he's like not a veteran writer yet, but not a seasoned writer.
And I think just also like just being young and having a different outlook on the world,
True.
I think in those books are probably a little bit more like homophobic jokes that might have been in there, you know?
Yeah, big time.
Whereas so he's probably like now like, hey, that probably doesn't fucking fly.
There's a lot of, like the Invincible comic book gets pretty hardcore sometimes. Like
Mark for sure gets raped for sure.
Oh yeah, no, big time. Yeah.
So that's also going to be interesting when we get to that portion of the show.
I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna do it.
Are they gonna do it? Are they gonna tiptoe around it? Because it is very jarring in the comic.
If
for sure.
Okay, this is gonna sound like a weird statement. I'm gonna have to explain myself afterwards. But if they do it, I imagine they'll do it tastefully. In the sense that, like, they're not just going to animate, what's her name, like, Anissa or some shit?
Yeah, something like that.
Just, like, fucking hopping on top of Mark and, like, getting down. Like, I imagine it's probably going to be some kind of, like, wait, no, and then they cut away, you know? And then you see Mark in the aftermath, something like that. Which, like, if I'm not mistaken, I think there's silhouettes, but is, like, more or less what happens in the comic books, too. So, I don't know. I wonder if... I'm curious as to, like, how much they have... like left on the cutting room floor, so to speak, from like season 1, you know?
Yeah.
Like how much are they willing to cut out? Does he think that's central to the storyline? Because like A kid does come from it, right?
Yeah, and I think it is also just impactful for
Mark.
the Mark and also the Eve relationship as well.
Yeah.
So that is like, I don't know. It is one of those things where, like, I think I've noticed since watching these 70s like horror like films is like there is a certain level of like commitment to some fucked up things you kind of have to make sometimes, like in order to get like these serious things like across, you know, and to maybe have them hit home a little bit, you know, because again, like in Carrie, which we'll talk about today, there's a lot of abuse that goes on into Carrie.
Most definitely,
But I think like if you don't have that, it almost makes like the fantastical world around it seem a little bit cheesy.
Sure.
Whereas like if you have that and you have like some real world things that go on, it hits home a little bit more. And it adds grounds it a little bit. You know,
it's the Zack Snyder thing.
Yeah.
It's the Watchmen, which is also still Zack Snyder. It's the Batman Begins thing, which is like we want. Well, I mean, not all of us, because I don't fucking want it, but I feel like a lot of the times we ask for fantastical elements to be like, I don't want to say dumbed down, but just like grounded. Like, there can't be a fucking dragon just for no reason. There also has to be hardcore violence and murder and how the like old school medieval would have been if we're going to make a dragon show. Okay, guys? So like, it's fine. I get it. And it's just like a new breed of like popular culture stuff. It's a new spin. It's just more hardcore.
But yeah, I'm excited for some art, especially like, you know, reader or non-readers of the comics who don't know about like the multiversal marks that are all fucked up and that come to try to take over Earth.
He's like one
of
the only ones that doesn't give into like the regular Viltrumite shit. Right?
Yeah. So I wonder what people who haven't read or aren't privy to like the events that, you know, come after all of like the stuff in season 1. I wonder what they thought when they watched it. They're like, what the fuck is Mark like just taking over Earth now?
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's not very blatant about what they're going with.
Oh,
it's
no,
just
they don't
like,
tell you at all.
Yeah,
no, they don't. You know what I was wondering, and like, I don't think people would be too down for this, or maybe they would. I don't know, but how fucking crazy would it be if they really, really fucking commit to the multiverse idea? And the Mark that we've been following is one of the Marks that turns bad. And so we watch him fall over the course of like the next like few episodes or whatever, maybe even to the end of the season. And then they cut away and it's like, here's Mark proper. He's gone through everything you saw in season 1, exactly the same. Everything's exactly the same. But you were actually watching
a different
the one who, you know what I'm saying?
I think I would really like
that'd be cool because it'd be a good twist. You could piss a lot of people off. You cause a lot of controversy, cause a lot of conversation. And then at the end, you can still be safe and be like, no, your Mark kind of is safe. Like the one you watched in season 1 did just fall, just betray Earth, did just fuck shit up. But there's another Mark who went through exactly the same things as your Mark did, who made a different choice. And that's who this is now.
I think I would really fucking like
I would be down for that. I was thinking about that when right after I saw the trailer. I was like, dang, what if they actually go for it?
I think I would really like that. I would really fucking
because I feel like that's also every multiverse movie always does like, okay, here's the first one. Okay, and then here's the second one. Guess what? Your hero that you know and love has an evil doppelganger. Yeah. You know, like an easy twist is like your hero that you know and love is the evil doppelganger, and he has a good doppelganger that we're gonna follow now.
I think it'd also be interesting from like watching it and not knowing and being like, what the like seeing Mark go down like this dark path and being like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck, that'd be so. Now I'm gonna be pissed if we don't get that.
Sorry,
I'm gonna be mad, bro. God damn it.
Sorry,
that's so good.
That's the trouble of expectations.
That's so fucking good.
That's the trouble of expectations.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But again, is it expectations or are we just theorizing?
Well, we are theorizing, it's both, you know, right? Because it's like we are theorizing, but at the same time, we've also put it out there of like, because I would be, as much as it's my theory.
But you can have theories without expectations as well.
That's true.
You can just be like, hey, this might happen,
but
I'm not expecting it to happen. This is just what I think could happen.
That's true. But it's also very hard to do that, especially if you come up with something that you like. Because if it's not that thing,
that was so fucking dope. Have you still not watched the Adam Eve?
No, I haven't seen it.
God, you gotta watch that.
I do
so
watch
good.
It,
It was so funny because like not funny, but I remember watching it and being like, all right, like how is this gonna go, right? How is this introduction back into this invincible world without Mark? How is this gonna pan over? How am I gonna feel after this? Am I gonna feel like this was like a cheap way to ease us back into Invincible?
Sure.
fuck no. It was so good. And like, especially the last fight scene, I was like, we're fucking back,
some
bro.
top-notch fucking Sakuga.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's so good, dude.
Hell
it's
yeah.
so fucking good. And then really getting to see Adam Eve's powers on display as well was super sick. Because I don't think that, like, that wasn't something that was, like, the main focus of Invincible Season 1. It was very much Mark. You know, Adam Eve's there, but we're not getting a deep dive on, like, hey, this is how her powers work, and this is what she can do, this is what she can do. Whereas the first episode, or that first special, is, like, really just about her and what her powers fucking do.
Yeah, I feel like
fucking sick.
Season 1 does a really good job of, like, fleshing out the supporting cast still, you know? It's not like they're just, like, here's Mark's future girlfriend, and that's it, you know? Like, Adam Eve, like, is still, like, a good side character, I think, in Invincible Season 1. So, like, it is, like, I'm trying to think of a comparison, and I'm blanking. But it's nice to have a lot of actually good ground that I think fans would be excited to explore of side content. Because, like, a lot of the times we'll get spin-off shows of shit we don't even watch or even want, you know? But this, I would, like, I'd be down to have a fucking spin-off of the, what do they call them? They're the Teen Titans, but for Invincible.
Oh, I completely forgot.
If they just made a show about them, I'd be down. If they made a show in the past that was about the Justice League, I'm sorry, I still don't remember their fucking names. The Guardians of the Globe. That's what they're called. Give me a flashback. I know there is like a scene of them, right, in the Adam Eve stuff or whatever, but if you want to give me a spin-off series of them, I'm down for that too. Like, everything that's in the background of the Invincible world, I think, is interesting enough in Season 1 to, like, obviously warrant a Season 2, but especially these spin-offs and stuff too. Like, I hope we see a whole universe of
they can get into, like, the whole, like, how we're getting, like, Gen V and stuff like that. Like, that's such a really good spin-off from a show that adds into the universe. That adds a lot to the universe without I don't know.
I feel like a good spin-off show has to be different enough from what the main thing is while still contributing to the overall vibe of what the original thing set up.
Yeah, it doesn't feel just like a copy-paste from The Boys. It really feels like it's its own thing within the universe, you know, which is important.
Yeah, you gotta have your own tone. You gotta have your own vibe. You gotta have your own shit.
But yeah, Gen V is fucking sick. This last episode, I'm so sad you're not watching it, bro, because it was...
Is this the end already?
No.
Just this last week's episode.
Yeah, I think this last episode was the 5th episode.
What, I forget, 8 to 10 episodes or
something like that.
Yeah, like
anywhere from like 8 to 12, I think. I forget how many they have.
That seems like the usual Amazon order is like around there.
But fuck, man, it was so fucking good, especially because after the last episode, like, there was like this crazy just like skip that happened at the end of the last episode, where like it cut in the middle of someone talking, and then it fucking, you just jump to like this other
10
portion.
10 years later.
And no, it wasn't like 10 years later, but like this, like your main character like wakes up, and I remember sitting there like,
what just happened?
Like, what? Like, did my Amazon like bug out? Like, I had to rewind and like see it like again.
Yeah.
And it was like, and everyone's like, I remember like seeing like all the talk about it online. Everyone's just like, what the fuck? Like, what happened? I'm like, holy shit. And they literally on their social media was like, just chill out. Like, we understand, but this is how the story is supposed to go.
Nice. I like
and like when you watch the preview for the next episode, like it explains it a little bit.
Yeah.
But then like when you get into it, it was so
cool.
It was so
That's
fucking
awesome.
good.
That's awesome.
But yeah, guys, go and watch Gen V if you fucking have it. If you haven't watched The Boys, go and check that shit out.
Yeah, that's really good.
So fucking good.
I still haven't seen Season 3, but I'm a big fan of the stuff that I have seen. It's good.
Fuck, man. You need to watch Season 3. That shit's so good.
Yeah, but yeah, Invincible looks really good. Scott Pilgrim also looks really good. Did you see the latest trailer for it or no?
I didn't. Let's peep that shit.
For sure peep that shit.
Let's peep this shit.
I think the
quick.
clip that got released like a month ago or so had me like a little bit worried because I was like, ooh, doesn't look quite as like polished as like I thought I would have liked.
Yeah.
But I realized after seeing this trailer that it's like, I think really going like an anime route, which is like the regular talking scenes and stuff or whatever.
Scott Pilgrim takes off.
Yeah. But when you see the fight scenes, bro, holy shit, that shit looks tight. Dude.
2 days ago.
Yeah, that one down there. Yeah. It might be kind of loud.
This is a trailer already. I don't give a fuck about that. No audio.
Fuck your audio.
Ramona Flowers.
Hell yeah, dude. All the original cast returning.
It's Michael Cera?
Yeah, everybody's back. It's literally everybody from the movie.
I didn't care the first time you told me. Care even less now.
Is that where it's always been? Toronto?
Yeah. Wow. They're Canadian, bro.
I'm surprised Drake hasn't been like, hey, let me fucking...
Nah, he's not right.
Let me make a cameo in this.
He's not right for Scott Pilgrim.
He's not, but, you know. Ah, that's so sick,
yeah,
bro.
This is for sure like some Mortal Kombat right here. Dun, 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 with the screaming too. Look at that shit, bro.
Damn, that looks so good.
Looks fire, dude. These
It reminds me of like
sick.
It reminds me of like a Gorillaz music video.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Did you want to hit this, bro?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, the Scott Pilgrim like animation style is just cool. Like the art
so
style of it from the comic or graphic novels.
Mm-hmm. Damn, Brie Larson.
Everybody did.
Did they already say Chris Evans?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't see that. Jason Schwartzman.
Yep.
Fuck yes, dude. Let's party.
Yeah, dude. Shit looks gas, bro.
It looks so fucking
looks
good.
so good.
I
I
love
can't
it.
wait, bro. I can't wait.
November 17th. Wow.
Don't even have to wait that long. Don't even have to wait
dude.
that long.
That looks so fucking good.
Yeah, I'm crazy hyped for that.
Yeah, that's such a good movie. Like, I was so pissed when I watched it for the first time, and I was like, wow, I can't believe I'd never watched this before.
Wait, when was the first time you saw Scott Pilgrim?
Fairly, like, recent. Within the past, like, couple years, I will say.
Shit. Oh, okay.
was
I
like
saw
the
that
first
shit in
day.
theaters, bro.
Oh,
that shit
my
hit
goodness.
like a fucking train when I was a kid.
Oh, I
bro.
bet, dude.
I was like, holy God, what
bet.
is this? Yeah.
But
it
is cool. But it is pretty nuts when you think back to it, and, like, that fool was just, Scott Pilgrim's just hella old, and he's dating fucking,
Oh, yeah,
what's her name?
Knives Chow.
Yeah, Knives
Yeah.
Chow, and she's hella, like, in high school.
Literally,
like 17.
the video game voice narrator dude is like, Scott Pilgrim's dating a high schooler. It's like, okay. It's very, very bad. I think I can't tell, but like from the vibe that I got from the trailer, it seemed like in general they might try to tone down like Scott's, less
Predatorial actions.
Yeah. And I think just less appealing like man-like behaviors in general. I have a feeling they're also not going to go so hard on like the him cheating on them back and forth, It kind of seems like he's just going straight for Ramona this time. Cuz he's like at the party and he's like, "Hey, you want to go on a date or whatever, But I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
But he is kind of like that in the movie where, like, when he meets Ramona or,
Yeah.
like, he sees her, he kind of just, like, is not,
Yeah,
like...
he doesn't care about
He doesn't
knives.
care about knives
Yeah,
at fucking
it's
all.
really bad.
So,
yeah.
I don't know. I think you kind of got to keep that in there. I think that is sort of, like, the whole deal with Scott. At least when I watched it, I was like, damn, this will kind of fucking sucks.
I feel like that's also the deal with knives, too.
Yeah.
Because, like, what does she have to do if not, like, the fake revenge thing that she eventually gets over?
Exactly.
Or whatever. But yeah, I'm excited. I think it's gonna be really good. I can't wait. I can't believe they got everybody back too from the movie. Like that's a lot of actors to get.
Yeah, I feel like you don't really ever see that when something gets adapted in, like, vice versa, whether it's animation to live action or live action to animation, you never really see the same actors.
We should probably look it up, but I feel like this has to be a record because if it's not like the first time ever that this has happened, I feel like this is probably one of the first times that this many cast members have returned for, like you said, like an adaptation. Because
I can't.
That's a lot of people. It's like 10 to 12 people, and like not that like all of them are, I think, are recognizable actor names in general.
Mm-hmm.
As some of them are like really big stars now too, and they still got him back. Like I was worried about Chris Evans.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Schwartzman was one I didn't know about. Even
Brie
Michael
Larson.
Cera, Brie Larson too.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, it's really good to.
I think Michael Cera's the one you have to, I think, worry about the most.
Yeah, because if you don't have him, like, who are you gonna do?
Yeah, like you can do everyone else, like, but. I'm not saying that you couldn't do it without Michael Cera, but it's like
I feel like what it is that
it'd be so hard to do it because he is Scott Pilgrim,
He is.
and
He
like
is, yeah.
if you hear anybody else, you're gonna be like, oh, that's not fucking,
Yeah,
that's not Scott Pilgrim.
Because Michael Cera has such like iconic voice as it is, like okay, I'm not. This is maybe like too crazy of a comparison, right? Because like some people might be like, no, you can't ever recast anybody from like the Fellowship or whatever, like Lord of the Rings. But I feel like the most difficult one would be recasting a Gollum. Like you just can't do Gollum again.
Yeah.
Because who the fuck's gonna do it besides Andy Serkis?
Exactly. You could have someone else do Sam and fucking.
You could probably figure those out. It'd be okay. But like you would just call Andy Serkis back to get in the suit because he doesn't have to look young. It's fine. So like, yeah, I don't know. It is hard. He just embodies like what we know as the character. I'm interested to see like what I think his name's Brian Lee O'Malley, the original creator of Scott Pilgrim. If he was like involved with the process of picking the actor and whatnot, I would imagine that he was.
So is this another movie or is it like a series?
It's a series.
It's a series.
Because I was curious about that too, but I rewatched the trailer earlier and it does say a Netflix original series.
Okay.
So I think how I would imagine is that the original thing is I think split up into, I think it is 7. It might be 6. I'm not sure, but I think it's a graphic novel for each of the X's.
Okay.
So I think it'll be like that. We'll get an episode for each of the X's, probably various amounts of time, you know.
I think that's going to be interesting too, because to me, like a big part of the movie is how quick they get through each X without it feeling too fast, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like each X has its own like time on screen.
Because the movie's not long.
Yeah.
And he fights 7 villains. Like it is a lot. It's pretty intense.
There are some of them that are kind of like quick here and there, you know?
It is 6. It is 6, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. Because remember, the Katyanagi twins are one fight.
Yeah,
that's 6
true.
or that's 5 and 6.
Yeah, that's true. So that's gonna be interesting how they like sort of flesh out that part of the story for people who are just familiar with the movie.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure. Because I hope we'll get like a deeper dive on stuff. You know, because like the world is already interesting enough as it is. So if I get more of it, I'm super down. Especially in this art style, like. That's a great comparison that you said, the gorilla style for sure. It looks.
That's
like
what that. It just reminds me of.
Yeah,
like,
feels like it.
Being a kid and watching the fucking. When the fall
yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I love that song. I don't
Yeah.
even know I forget what that song's called, but
Windmill. That's what it's called.
yeah.
Yeah. No.
Oh, I was like, I wouldn't believe you. I would believe you for that like split second. I was like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So on the nose.
But I'm hyped though, because the two main reasons the main reason I'm hyped, I should say, is because like I think the movie is like a good attempt at like not like an anime, but you know, more anime like.
If an anime was going to be live action,
yeah. It's pretty
something
close.
like that.
It's like a video game anime,
Yeah.
right? Like it blends a lot of video game elements, I think, like anime elements. And so the fact that that's actually just getting turned into an animated series, super exciting.
To me, Scott Pilgrim does a lot of the things like Kung Fu Hustle does really well.
Yes.
Like Kung Fu Hustle feels very much like an animated live action movie.
Yeah.
Like, and a lot of that has to do with like the specific camera angles, like what they do with like their wire work and things like that. And I think Scott Pilgrim adapts a lot of those things.
Yes,
you know?
definitely. So yeah, I'm hyped to see it just animated. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, Scott Pilgrim.
Scott Pilgrim takes off. That shit's so hype, bro. Like when I heard that, I was like, oh.
They should make a Scott Pilgrim like video game.
They have one.
They have one? Damn,
It's an old school.
So out of touch.
It's an old school beat 'em up. So it's like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games you'd play in an arcade where they like move up and down the thing like this, and you just keep moving right, and you keep punching dudes.
Nah, give me an immersive like Scott Pilgrim like Jedi Fallen Order type fucking not that animation,
sure,
you know,
yeah.
but something of that like story.
I think it could.
You know?
I agree with you that I think it could be cool, but I wouldn't knock the other game until you.
Oh
try
no! I'm not knocking the other game at all.
It
I
fits with
think
the vibe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it fits with the vibe very well. The old school like 8-bit style or whatever.
But I think that'd be
it'd
super cool. Like each X is like a different fucking
You
boss
get like
battle.
the game.
Yeah.
I mean the movie, but like
just
in
in
a
a game.
story game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And you get to be Scott Pilgrim. You get to beat up on all the fucking. You
It's
get
like-
all the
you-
original cast back to the voice acting.
They make like an alternate path where it's like you could end up with Ramona or Knives. Get
Yeah.
an alternate ending to the
Exactly.
game.
Oh,
Like,
that'd be
some-
fucking
You know
dope.
what I mean? Like some shit.
That'd be really fucking dope.
The other thing I'm hyped about too, which is like very, very recent, literally today recent, which was like I told you I watched that trailer again earlier today, and it says music by Anamanaguchi, which like instantly rang a bell because one of my older cousin like / tios His name is Petey. His name's Pedro, but we call him Petey. He used to listen to them when I was like really, really little, because it's like a band that started in like I think 2006.
Mm-hmm.
But I went to listen to them today, and holy shit, I am hooked.
Yeah.
It's like a genre. Have you ever heard of chiptunes?
Where they kind of just sound kind of like fucking.
Well, chiptunes is like where they take old school 8-bit and 16-bit sound effects from video games, and they incorporate them into. In this, it's like really fast electric guitar, like pop punk kind of sounding stuff.
Interesting.
And there's no lyrics; it's just all music. But they basically sound like songs from like video game levels, from like Sonic and like Mega Man and like shit like that.
Okay.
If it had like a bunch of electric guitar and like awesome drums. Wow. It's fucking kick ass, bro. I listened to it the whole way home today, and I was raging, dude. I was like fucking thumping my head the whole way back.
I love that.
It's kick ass. It's really good. Anamanaguchi. So I'm hyped to have that vibe in this show. I feel like it's gonna fit so well with
Fuck
like
yeah.
the video gamey sounds and stuff.
Hell yeah.
It's gonna be kick ass.
I'm big on some good music, dude, so I'm ready to hear some good music. Speaking of kick ass, did you see that they're rebooting
Kick-Ass? No
Yeah.
way. Like a new movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think it's going to be not those characters.
Oh,
From
cool.
what I saw, it's going to be like different characters.
It's in the world of Kick-Ass.
Yeah, in the world of Kick-Ass.
Okay, I'm down
Which
for
I'm
that.
down. I love
I
those
think that's way
movies.
better. Me too. I
We
like
need to
them a
do
lot.
we need to do those movies.
I'm down
for
because
sure.
there's two, so it's
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah, I'd be super down. I like those movies a lot too. Yeah, I think my first exposure to Aaron Taylor Johnson. I think that was the first time I saw him and like made note of like, oh, I like this guy. He's a good actor.
Cool guy.
He's a good actor. Yeah, I like him a lot.
I loved those movies, so I'm glad. I don't know to what extent they're doing the reboot. I got to do a little bit more research, but I saw that and I was like, interesting.
You know,
because I love those movies. A reboot is something that always gets me a little bit on edge.
Yeah.
You know, just because I think those movies are perfect for what they are.
Sure.
You know, they may not be the best movies, but to me, they're fucking some gold.
They
dude.
are good for what they're. You're totally right.
They're diamonds in the rough.
They
for
really
sure.
are. I agree with you. Yeah. I think what would be cool is like we show up in the world, you know, and it's like the kind of vibe of like teenage group of kids, like them and their friends are like, we could be superheroes. Come on. Kick-Ass and Hit Girl did it. Why can't we? That's the kind of vibes I want. You know what I mean? Like reference the world that we know, but keep it separate.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that'd be cool.
Hell yeah. Kick ass.
That'd be cool. I'm super
Reboot.
down. Can't wait. Can't freaking wait.
I think right now we should get into some Loki episode, motherfucking.
Oh yeah, let's do it. Episode 2.
Because I don't even think we've talked about
No,
Loki
we
episode
haven't.
2 at all.
Not yet.
Because I think by the time you had watched it, I hadn't watched it. I was getting down some Call of Duty.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and I have now watched it. And yeah, Loki season 2, episode 2, our review.
S2E2.
Let's set a timer for 15 minutes.
Yeah,
Let's do
agreed.
that.
We got to do the same thing. I was thinking about that last time. Is it's like I think when we get to our season finales, it's okay to just talk.
Yeah.
You know, because we got to get all our thoughts
Yeah.
out. But each episode, we
do
can
some-
certainly limit ourselves.
Let's do some concise reviews.
15 minutes?
Exactly.
Okay, we're going. 15 minutes.
And episode 1 of season 2, episode 1 of Loki, find out that we got to find Sylvie again.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. The TVA is set out to find Sylvie because she's the one that put him through all this pandemonium. The timelines are all fucked up. The threads are not threading. They're not weaving together like they have to. Obi's got to make a new machine to help it fucking to thread the fucking threads of time together, you know, to create the one
He's to
single
retrofit it. Yeah,
timeline.
the sacred timeline.
And now Mobius and Loki are on their own mission to go and find Sylvie because obviously they want to find Sylvie first before the TVA finds them, before Dox finds them.
Dox
finds her and, you know, fucking
kill
murders
everybody.
her.
Yeah.
Dox is trying to murder fucking everybody.
Yeah.
Let's not do this shit
Let's
again.
not do this one
God
more
damn it.
time.
But yeah, so what were we talking about? So
Loki episode 2.
Loki and Mobius are on a journey to find Sylvie so they can save her from Dox and the rest of the TVA agents from murdering her fucking ass.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're gonna try to fucking do. They're gonna find her and they're gonna murder her.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
One of the things that I'm like not like heavily disappointed in, but just kind of like is Dox is like really, really evil.
Fuck, we've clapped so much.
You
dude.
know, I will say though, all the claps have been on point.
Yeah, sorry about all the technical
Son of a
difficulties. If the
bitch.
sounds all cut up, all fucking crazy.
It's
That's
gonna be
literally-
janky.
Yeah, we don't know what the fuck's going on.
Let's just give them right now a quick little transition song back in. Transition.
But yeah, so I don't know what's been going on. The thing we used to record I don't know if it's the cable or what, if there's some shit going down, but it's just not been. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Some tech bugs in the machines tonight.
Yeah, it keeps just like disconnecting and reconnecting to the interface that we're recording on. So hopefully we can get through the rest of this episode without any motherfucking spookies going on, man. It's the fucking Halloween. It's the October Halloween spookies going down.
Talk about spookies.
We're trying to stop. We're trying to get to the spooky stuff. We're trying to get to the spooky stuff.
That's what it is. They're like, you're supposed to talk about us today. Yeah. What's going on?
We're trying to get through Loki. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, it's not that Dox is a bad person, or no, she's just straight up bad.
She is.
She's just straight up bad.
She's just. I just wish she was.
She's not
like,
a character.
No.
She's just like, hey, this person, they're bad.
No, they just show. Yeah, she just shows up and she's just like, I want to kill everyone, especially Sylvie. So I'm gonna do that now. And
she's like, hey, I really liked when I went to different timelines and just pruned the fuck out of them.
Yeah.
Because you know why? That meant I was killing everybody.
Yeah.
And guess what? I like that.
Yeah. I will say I was pleasantly surprised by X5 in this episode because I felt the same way about him in the last one. He's great though. I liked him a lot. I thought he was a solid like foil to the team in this episode. I liked it. It was good shit.
Yeah, I thought this was a pretty good episode. I think it was. I don't think it was as good as the last episode, but again, I think last episode set the bar pretty high for a comeback to, this was the first season 2 of any Marvel show that we've had. It started off strong. It was really hitting the ground running.
Yeah.
And not that this was a bad episode, but I think it was like, a little bit slower of an episode,
Yeah.
We had to go out and find Sylvie again. We have to have the Loki and Sylvie conversation of like, hey, what the fuck happened? Blah, 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 and all that stuff, which it was fine. It was nice. I think it's good. I think both those actors are really fucking good. So it's nice to get them back on the screen together,
Yeah.
And I think that was like some of the best parts, at least when I'm thinking back to like Loki season 1 is like, when they're on the screen together and they're both being Loki, it's like so fucking good.
Very good. Yeah.
I'm glad that they're back together. I love Obi. I love some Mobius.
Obi's good.
I love the whole like good cop, bad cop that Mobius and Loki got going on right now. I think that shit's really good. The interrogation scene with Brad Wolf was pretty fucking good. I don't think it like at the beginning when they're doing their act, it wasn't like selling you the most.
Uh-huh.
Then Mobius gets a little like, oh no, Loki, you're not a villain. You're like, okay, now you're selling me. But like from the beginning, you're like, this is kind of you guys are running a gimmick here.
Yeah.
But then they kind of get into it and you're like, oh, I don't know if this is a gimmick. But then it turns out to be a gimmick. But it was still all really fucking good. I thought that was a really good scene, really tense.
Yeah.
I love the fucking him getting put in the box and it getting made smaller.
Yeah,
that shit was really fucking cool. So yeah, I thought this was a pretty solid episode. Probably would rate it like an 8 out of 10. Not anything super crazy, but not anything bad either. I thought this was great. I really do like when these episodes are contained and they have their own sort of like adventure, their own goal. They have to set out and find Sylvie. They have to figure out what Dox is doing because they figure out Brad Wolf has this different fucking what is it, like a temp pad or whatever?
Yeah, he has like a modified temp pad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they got to figure out what that is, and I like that. I like that out of a show where each episode there's a goal. We set out and we accomplish it, but there is still that overarching story looming behind us, So I think that's really good, especially from all like the Marvel talks that we're getting about them switching up their fucking the way they approach series.
TV shows and stuff. Yeah, I heard that.
They're like pretty much not scrapping Daredevil, but like restarting it. Pretty much.
I think honestly, like I keep seeing that, and like, because that's not, if I'm not mistaken, that's not the first time they've said that. So, like, at this point, I would appreciate it. Just let people make what they want to make. Stop trying to make stuff based off of what you think people will like, because we have already shown as an audience that if you do that, we're going to hate it anyways. It doesn't matter. You can change it up and cater to whatever specific audience you want to try to, but you're going to disappoint everybody else. So just let a creative person make the project that they want to make so that there's passion, identity, and like, individuality to that project. Exactly. I think that would be the best thing for them to do.
Exactly. And I feel like Loki's felt the most like that. Yeah. Because I feel like it's felt the most like an actual show and not like a movie that's been chopped up
into a show.
Yeah, for sure. Again, I love all these sets on here. I feel like they are they feel really immersive. Like it really feels like we're in somewhere different, not just like, oh, there's a screen back there where we just fucking, we kind of just generated this shit. Like,
no, the TVA is cool because it's like a good, just like head trip anyways too, because like all this futuristic technology exists there, but it looks like a 1960s office, and everybody acts like a 1960s employee or whatever.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's good. I really liked this episode actually. Like right off the top, I don't think I'd give it a perfect score, but I would give it like a 9 out of 10, mainly because of the interrogation scene. And the reason why I love it so much is that I think the show in general, but then this episode in particular, has been trying to tell us like, hey, Loki's pretty much a hero now. He started in season 1 as like an actually he started his journey as an anti-hero even in like Ragnarok back in 2017. Like it's been a while, right? But at this point, when we get to like the end of his first season and especially the beginning of this season 2, like Loki's pretty much a hero. I don't have any trouble believing that like apparently he's supposed to lead the like new Avenger team that's going to take on the Kangs and stuff like that. I can see it. And this episode starts with like a very hero-esque chase scene where Loki's fucking being suave and James Bondy and chasing the bad guy down the alleys and stuff, right? And so you're like, wow, look at him being a detective. He's the good guy doing this and doing that or whatever. And then to just see that Tom Hiddleston still has the scary villain Loki in him, and not only that, but how quickly he can just be like, you know what, motherfucker, I am a villain.
You want a villain? I'll give you a fucking villain.
God, that was fucking juicy, bro. So good. I was so down for that shit. I got chills. My heart was pounding. I was like freaked out. I loved it. I liked the new perspective that we now have on the events that happen in the Avengers as well. Because you get the vulnerability from Loki of like, yeah, you know what? I was being a sad fucking tantrum god. And I was like, had it out against my brother and my dad. So I fucking attacked the one place that they loved more than me.
He's
and
all,
it like,
I threw Tony Stark off a building. Did I need to do that?
no,
I didn't need
it's
to.
It's good. Because
Yeah.
I love it because it's a good classic MCU nod, which is like referencing something that everybody knows, but it's subtle enough and it's clever enough that it like doesn't feel forced. I think it's funny. I think it's delivered well. And again, I think it adds like a cool new perspective to that movie. I can now go back and watch that movie and be like, oh, I know how Loki felt during this shit now. Like he was just the bad guy in this one, but now I have like an idea of like what he's going through during that time and stuff. So it was cool. I like that a lot. I think that's retconning done well, in my opinion. You know, they're not being like, you know, out of nowhere. It's like, oh, there's a timeline split, so like this is what happened or whatever. It's just like that's how I felt during that time. So now I as an audience member can go back and watch that movie with a fresh perspective. I have something new to gain from a movie that's like fucking 11 years old. You know.
Yeah, I like those moments. I do like the moments where they like when Loki is like, oh, I fucking did this and tried to take over New York, and blah, 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 and like did all this. You know, I like those moments because the callbacks feel very self-aware in the fact that, oh, we know we're going to have Loki just break down the events of Avengers. Yeah. But we're going to do it in a way where he's just so like nonchalant, like, oh yeah, you know, I did this and I did that. And like, hey man, I was just, you know, I was a little out of line.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
I was just, you know, not thinking straight.
What is
it's
it?
all good.
I forgot what he says. Cause like Mobius says like a certain term where like, it's a clever turn, right? Because he tells Loki when they're going and they're like, don't lose your cool, basically. And then Mobius is the one who loses his cool. And so, like, you know, Loki has to calm him down.
I loved the, like, when Mobius fucking smacks him, he's like, you're a little man.
Yeah.
You're a little man. Like,
I know,
that shit was
so good.
It was like, it's so good, but I don't know why it was so funny to me.
Yeah,
but.
no, I agree. Yeah, it's not, I feel like because Owen Wilson is usually playing such a laid back character, it's very satisfying to see him, like, come out of his skin a little bit and be like, motherfucker, like, you're a little man. It's good, yeah. And it's Owen Wilson, so he's like, "You're a little man." Like the voice.
Little man.
You're a little man. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
I can't do it well, but yeah, overall, I really liked it. I will say, because we got about a minute and a half left. The last thing I'll say is that probably the reason why it's not a perfect 10 for me is that like while on paper I can understand that like so many of these branches being bombed is tragic, like I as an audience member don't have any like connection to those branches, so like. I through proxy and through the like acting on screen that I'm seeing, I'm like, fuck yeah, this is sad. This sucks. Yeah. But internally, emotionally, I'm not attached to anything in those timelines. So I'm kind of like, well, that happened. What's next? But you know what I mean? Like I do wish that was a bit more of a factor. Like I also told my dad, I wonder if that was a strategic move so that over the next few years, they can be like, hey, you know that project you didn't like? That actually existed on one of the branches that Docs blew up in Loki season 2. That didn't happen anymore. That's not Marvel canon. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's just a random afterthought. But yeah, that was the like one disappointment I had with the episode.
I would agree with that. I feel like for me, it was just the fact that I feel like it kind of happened quick. It was just like, oh, Doc's is trying to blow up all the timelines.
Quick little action scene.
Yeah, we gotta go. It felt like out of a video game.
Good action, right? Yeah. Like it looked cool visually. Loki and Sylvie doing their shit together, awesome.
But it was just like pretty quick of like this big, huge event of like literally like trillions of people dying. Like trillions of people dying, and it was just like, oh yeah, it happened.
Could have been a whole episode.
Like, again, like we're probably gonna deal with the ramifications of it, like in the later episodes of the season, you know. But for it to just be like, oh, this happened
in like the last 10 minutes of the episode,
and it didn't feel like such like I feel like the ending where everyone's like staring at the screen and like you see all the timelines that are being pruned, like felt like it was trying to be a moment that hit harder than it actually did.
Yeah, most definitely. You know? The other, because I feel like too, sorry, I know the timer went off, but the other thing too is just like the beginning really drops you in quick. So it's like, how long have they been chasing Sylvie? How long since the last episode?
Exactly.
What's been going on? So like if they've been struggling for a long time, they've been trying as a team, it's like, oh, that's tragic, but I didn't see that. You know?
Exactly. So, but yeah, guys, Loki season 2, episode 2. Go let us know what you think down in the comments. Go back and watch our season 2, episode 1 review, which is actually already up on YouTube. Just dropped it today at the time of reading this. Recording this. Jeez, I'm not reading this.
I almost said watching too.
But yeah, go and check that out on YouTube. You know, 2afterTV, TH4TV. That's the number 4. Symbolized out, written out, not, you know, spelled out. Not FOR, not FOUR, not FORE. The number, the symbol, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's
and yes, on our YouTube page, you can find most of our full podcast episodes. I say most because not all of them are on there. If I were to say all of them are on there, I'd be lying to you. And I'm not trying to be a liar. But you can find most of our full-length podcast episodes on YouTube. You can find all of our reviews for Ahsoka on YouTube as well. And a little playlist. You know, you go to our YouTube. You can scroll over. You can see, oh, what's that little playlist right there? What is that? And you click it, and you see, oh, wow. Oh, so the episodes that he was saying mostly are on here, the full-length podcast episodes, they're right here in this playlist. And oh wow, like the reviews of Ahsoka he was telling us about that are also in a place. They're right.
You know, if you're like,
they're right here.
If you hop on YouTube and you're like, oh, you know what? I don't think I have time right now to like watch the whole episode, but I really like Ahsoka. And oh, would you look at that?
Wow.
I can just watch the Ahsoka reviews?
Wow, and there's reviews for episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Holy crap.
And wow, there's a review for Loki episode 1 as well in its own playlist that's going to get added to as well.
Wow, and these are spoiler-free reviews? No, they're not. Wow. No, they're absolutely not spoiler-free reviews. But
But yeah, Loki season 2, episode 2. Let us know what you think down in the comments. Was it good? Was it not good? What did you think about it? What was your favorite part? What was your least favorite part? Who's your favorite character? Who's your least favorite character?
Miss Minutes.
We haven't even seen her yet in this season, so you can't even say it. You can't even say that.
She's evil.
She's not even a character yet because we haven't seen her yet. But yeah, Loki. Shall we move on
to some spookies?
To some spookies. Some spookies.
Los Spookies.
Los Spookies.
Do you need
another?
Yeah, I'm down.
Do you need another drinky drink?
Yes, I am down. Shall we do some possession first or some telekinesis?
Let's do some telekinesis first.
Okay, I'm down. Start with Carrie.
Because I also got to tell you about my Carrie theory, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I was watching Carrie, right? And I couldn't help but notice the uncanny similarities between Carrie and the Water Boy.
Carrie and Water Boy? Okay.
Think about it.
Okay.
So the way Bobby Boucher and Carrie White talk to their mom and reference their mom is the same. Mama said this.
Yeah.
Mama said that.
Yeah.
Right? The Water Boy's mom is, you know, she's not she doesn't really say she's religious, but she is pretty religious.
She's for sure religious.
Oh, football's the devil.
You can't say touch the devil, mama.
That girl's the devil.
100% religious.
The Water Boy is literally Carrie, but just a comedy and for dudes.
I would agree with that until the ending.
What is exactly until the ending?
Until the ending,
right?
It's like Waterboy would be a happy ending version of Carrie.
Exactly, because what does Carrie want? She just wants to go to the prom.
Yeah.
She wants to be accepted by everybody.
She just wants friends.
What does Bobby Boucher want? He wants friends. He wants to be accepted. He wants to play some foosball. He wants to be some football.
Yes.
There's two mothers that are very overbearing, helicopter mothers that don't let them experience anything else on the other side. I was just watching this. I was like, dude. Adam Sandler literally watched Carrie and he was like, wow.
You know what's
Bobby Boucher.
You know what's trippy? It's just fucking weird, bro. It's like I didn't make that deep of a connection, but I also had an Adam Sandler connection when I was watching this movie, oddly enough. Because a long time ago my dad showed me various different I like it. Get the switch up. Various different Adam Sandler comedy albums. Adam Sandler would make music, comedy songs. Have you ever heard any of them? They are fucking fantastic, and I absolutely implore you to listen to them. But one of them has what I now know is a joke reference to Carrie of Adam Sandler doing a character voice going, "They're all gonna laugh at you. They're all gonna laugh at you."
See, this just adds to my fucking theory.
It's crazy that you brought that up because I was like, "Whoa, there is some Adam Sandler shit in here."
Dude, there has to be. There is such an uncanny similarity between these two. It's ridiculous. It's actually pretty fucking ridiculous.
I was laughing to myself just because I was like, obviously the reference is backward. Cheers, because I didn't. This is good. That's a good spicy margarita. Yeah. Obviously, Adam Sandler stuff came out much later than Carrie, but I was laughing because like it's just funny when you have a reference for something that's like, I mean, not like a meme, right? But like a joke, and then you see what it originally came from, but like that's not your original, you know, like as far as like your perspective and timeline goes. So that's kind of cracking me up a little bit, but that's crazy. That's hella funny.
Dude, I just couldn't help but like what I fucking was just watching, and just I think it was just the way she was like, Mama doesn't like this.
Yeah,
Mama
100%.
doesn't like. It's very Bobby Boucher.
Yeah, for
sure.
Yeah, most definitely.
But I was tripping the fuck out.
Do you want to know another crazy thing that I tripped out on? Which is a sad thing, but I'm not gonna lie, it did spook me a little bit. I watched this movie yesterday night, and when I was watching it, when I first saw the mom, in my head I was like, oh, I think that's Rosemary Harris. I think that's Aunt May from fucking Spider-Man 1. It is not. It is a girl, I think, named Lori Piper. I could be getting it wrong. We should look it up really quickly because there is unfortunately a rest in peace situation here. Piper Laurie. I had it backwards. She died on Saturday.
Oh, what?
She just passed away on Saturday.
Damn.
And I tripped. I was like, rest in peace. Because she's great, wonderful performance, super fucking spooky. She did a great job of being like a very
scary religious mother.
Yeah. Crazy fucking. I watched behind the scenes like things you didn't know on both the movies today, like when I was on my way to work. And one of the trippy things about this one was that her, Piper Laurie, and I'm gonna forget the girl's name, but the girl who plays Chris, and then her boyfriend John Travolta, right?
Yeah.
All three of them apparently were under the impression when they first got to set that they were playing more like comedy slapstick roles, and had to be told like, you guys are supposed to be like, you're supposed to be scary, the mom, right? Like you're supposed to be terrifying. Like it's not like a joke, funny, like overly religious mom. Like you're crazy, like trying to fucking lock her up in the closet shit, right? So I thought that was crazy or whatever. But same thing with Chris too. She was apparently like thought that her and John Travolta were kind of playing like some Three Stooges-esque type characters. Like, oh, it's goofy. We dropped the fucking thing on her. It's a slapstick. But when she saw the movie for the first time, she's like, oh, I'm the villain.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
That's so crazy because like when I was watching, I was like, a lot of these characters feel like I was telling you before, they feel like caricatures.
They feel slapstick, yeah.
Of like the general types of characters that they're playing. Like Chris is the classic mean popular girl, but it's like turned up to like 11 where 100%. She like is like after like in the opening scene, like they're playing volleyball and like the ball gets hit to Carrie, who is our main character, you know, and she's a little reserved. She you know is very shy, doesn't really talk to everybody, and everyone just hates on her, thinks she's like a weird girl, you know. And I think that's just like the common trope of like the person that doesn't talk is just a fucking that keeps themselves as a fucking weirdo.
It's also
you know?
unfortunately like it was a reality. I think back in the 70s
Yeah,
and 80s,
exactly.
It's like bullying was fucking borderline psychotic back in the days.
Yeah, and there's that scene where she fucking like misses the ball and like her team loses, like it's game point or whatever, and then like they're walking back and they're all saying mean things to Carrie, and then Chris is like, "Eat shit, Carrie," and I was like, Jesus, like this is high school PE volleyball.
You're like, that is too much hatred for a fucking teenager. Calm down.
Like, I want to slap the shit. If someone like, if I was in PE and I like was playing basketball and I missed a shot, someone's like, "Eat fucking shit, Ryan." I'd smack the shit out of that person. Like, I'm not a violent person. I'm not seeking.
That would provoke something, though.
But like, dude. We're in physical education at a fucking public high school.
You say some shit like that to me in physical education, I'll tell you what, I'm going to educate you physically, motherfucker.
What are you talking about? Eat shit because I missed the fucking volleyball. How about you eat shit because you didn't do your fucking homework, you piece of shit?
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, Chris is pretty bad. I'm not going to lie. Chris is one of the worst, like,
I think everyone in this is just terrible.
Yeah, everybody's pretty bad. Aside from Carrie, to like a certain extent, because obviously she goes fucking nuts at the end. But it's satisfying
it's warranted.
to watch
it's warranted.
it happen. It is warranted. She's fucking killing a lot of other people though that didn't fuck with her.
Yeah.
But again, you feel for Carrie, so it's fine. So Carrie, I do think the teacher is fine as well, who's like trying to help her out the whole time. And then I also think that what's his name, like Tommy, right?
Yeah.
And then his girlfriend
Sue.
I think they're all right too.
Yeah.
I think the four of them are like the only decent people in the movie. Everybody else fucking sucks.
Let me read this description so people know what the fuck is going on. So, in this chilling adaptation of Stephen King's horror novel, withdrawn and sensitive teen Carrie White, played by Sissy Spacek,
Sissy
Spacek, faces taunting from classmates at school and abuse from her fanatically pious mother, played by Piper Lowry, at home. When strange occurrences start happening around Carrie, she begins to suspect that she has supernatural powers. Invited to the prom by empathetic Tommy Ross, played by William Catt, Carrie tries to let her guard down, but things eventually take a dark and violent turn, which is fucking true.
Very true.
This is such a crazy movie. Like, it is a horror movie, but it is like very much like a movie about a girl who's gone through puberty, and is just dealing with high school bullying shit, and she just happens to have supernatural powers, you know.
One of the things that like I really liked about this movie, and it caught me off guard because like I think I've seen it before, but I can't really remember, and if I did see it, I'm pretty sure I was like half in and out of sleep when I watched it. But what I really liked about this movie is like how quickly it can switch vibes. Because like 1 minute you'll have the mom doing some like really scary she fucking locks Carrie in a closet, and like Carrie's stuck in there with like this fucked up Jesus statue that's got like glowing eyes and shit, and it's just like looking down at her with a bunch of arrows in his tummy.
That ain't Jesus.
No, the most fucked up like crucifixion like thing I've ever seen on a movie anyway, right? But
not just like, oh yeah, Jesus got nailed to the cross. Like,
Jesus got arrows in his fucking tummy, bro.
Someone shot both of his fucking hands, and then someone shot 5 arrows in his fucking stomach.
Yeah, hardcore. So like,
not that getting nailed to the cross is any.
No, it's already bad enough.
That's terrible.
It is horrific as it is, but it's like adding. It's unnecessarily more violence.
It's adding insult to injury at that point.
There you go. Thank you. But you have moments like that. But then what I really liked is that you also have like these really wholesome, sweet moments. Like Brian De Palma, the director, really does capture like that sweet high school innocence, you know, of like the magic of this high school dance and shit. Like, it's really good. There was a lot of moments in the movie where I was like, oh my God, I'm smiling like a giddy little fucking boy. Like, this is so sweet. Holy shit.
Yeah.
And it makes the turn and the betrayal and the fucking revenge, all of it, like, all the more sweeter because you feel...
You're pissed.
You're pissed because you feel the, like, elation, the happiness that Carrie finally feels of, like, oh my God. Because, you know, the other thing, too, is, like, Tommy seems to genuinely fuck with Carrie. We're skipping ahead a little bit, obviously. We can go back to the beginning. But Tommy seems to genuinely fuck with Carrie. Like he seems like he's having a good time too, you know? Like I don't think he's just doing it. I mean, he does do it out of the kindness of his heart or whatever, but he's like he seems like he's having a good enough time too. So it's like, "Oh, she made it. There's a dude here that likes her. He gave her a kiss. They're dancing. Blah blah blah." And then, you know, everything happens.
See, it's like in the fucking Waterboy when Vicky Valentine showed Bobby Boucher her boobs, bro.
Exactly.
It's the same exact thing.
Exactly the same
That's what
thing.
I'm saying, bro. This literally is the Waterboy, just a horror fucking movie, and came out before the Waterboy.
Yeah. No, but it's really good, and I really appreciated those change ups. I liked them a lot. I liked the like slow introduction to the telekinesis, you know, because like by the end she's pretty insanely powerful. She's doing some crazy freaky shit, but they don't start that way, you know. Like in the beginning, she gets pissed off, she yells, and a light bulb explodes, and you're like, whoa, that's weird. But you know, maybe the light bulb just happened to go out when she got pissed off, you know. And then it elevates a little more. She gets upset. It's like, oh, a cigarette tray flew off the thing when she got upset. That's fucking weird. How did that happen? You know. And then it just slowly builds to the point where she's like burning down the fucking gym and like flipping cars over and blowing them up and shit like that. But it's a good build up, and I like the way, like you said, it's like the powers are almost like secondary. The story doesn't really have a whole lot to do with like her being like telekinetic or whatever.
Yeah, it's a very basic story. It's like a girl just wants to be accepted. She wants to. She doesn't have friends at school. She wants to, you know, go out and do regular things. She wants to go to fucking prom. She wants to get asked to prom and shit like that. But her mom's just not letting her because you know,
hardcore,
super religious. You know, and
everything
not that, like,
is a sin.
Exactly, and not that like religion's bad, right? But it's just like when you get it to like this extreme where you're literally like you're not letting your daughter do specific things because in the Bible it said this.
You're basically enslaving your child, but you're like, but the Bible says it's okay.
Yeah, the Bible says I can fucking smack the shit out of my fucking daughter.
Pretty
it's all
intense.
good.
Yeah, it's
all
fucked
good.
up. Yeah, but fuck, son of a bitch, I forgot what I was about to say. Keep going.
Yeah, but I thought Carrie was I've been utterly surprised by, I wouldn't say surprised, right? Because I think, you know, movies like 2001, The Shining, The Exorcist, which we're going to talk about today, and Carrie are all revered for being really great movies.
Yeah.
And so I think I went into these movies with the expectation of like, okay, these are going to be some banger movies.
Yeah.
And walking out of these being like, damn, these are some banger movies.
Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised because I don't think there's very often where I walk into a movie with these expectations and I leave with those expectations being met.
Yeah,
you know?
Sure.
And I think, you know, maybe 70s movies aren't your cup of tea because they can be cheesy. And I think this is definitely more on like the cheesy 70s aspect, you know, with like, you know, whenever her powers, you know, whenever she uses her powers, you hear the little, you know, the little sound cues, which is it's fun, it's great, but it can be like cheesy, you know, outside looking in. If you're not really like succumbing to the world of this, you can be like, oh, this is kind of, you know, whatever. But I liked it. I thought it was really good. Yeah, you know, I think to me, what really sold it for me was that second half of the movie. I will agree that the beginning was a little slow and getting like, you know, settling into the world of Carrie and meeting all these different characters. I was just more taken back by like, damn, everyone fucking sucks.
Everyone's hardcore.
You know, everyone is terrible. Everyone literally fucking sucks ass in this world. Yeah. Chris sucks. Her mom sucks. Her fucking English teacher sucks. Yep. Fucking everybody fucking sucks ass.
The principal's terrible.
Yeah.
Keeps calling her Cassie the whole fucking
Exactly.
time.
The principal's
gets reminded that her name's Carrie like 5 fucking times in the one conversation.
Yeah, sorry, Cassie.
Sorry, Cassie. Yeah.
Sorry, Cassie. You know, this is and the fact that like, I don't know. But again, I think what really sold it for me again was the second half when you do get to like the prom and everything, and you do have those like nicer, heartwarming moments. You know, you get to see Carrie when she, you know, gets done up. She looks nice and pretty. She looks cute and stuff like that.
It's a fun montage when like you see Tommy off with his boys, like and they're getting their tuxedos and shit. And then like you also have Carrie like making her dress and getting made up and stuff.
It's something that I didn't expect from the movie. Yeah. It being quote unquote a horror movie, right?
Yeah,
and seeing these things that are a little bit more heartwarming, a little bit more touching, I thought was really, really nice.
Yeah.
The music was fucking sick, dude.
Really good. Yeah, I agree.
The song they were slow dancing to
is fire.
I was like, fuck, bro. I slow danced to Ed Sheeran at my prom. Fuck. Not that Ed Sheeran sucks, but they slow danced to this. And
Ed
this was
Sheeran's whatever.
Fire. fire. I don't remember what song it was, but it was so fucking good, dude.
I don't know if this would fall under the like composer category. I don't think it is because I think it's like a classic song, like a artist song, right? But random fun fact, because you mentioned the strings earlier, right? Those are actually the strings from Psycho, the famous ones of the shower scene, the ring, 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 exact same sound bite, because I'm forgetting his name and I apologize. I'll look it up right now. But the composer who did Psycho, the director wanted him to do Carrie, but he passed away.
Damn.
And so the only way like he could, get something in there was using previous stuff, and he like wanted to honor him in a way. But literally the exact same strings from Psycho are what they use in the movie.
I never dreamed someone like you could love someone like me. That's
a long song title,
crazy,
but it's really good.
Fucking, I was tripping when I heard
really
this shit.
Good, yeah. Yeah, it's a jam.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I was tripping, bro. I was tripping.
Yeah, it's really good.
But yeah, the music was really good. I think one of the parts with the score that I was really blown away by was when Tommy and Carrie are walking up to the stage, and it's sort of like the song sort of goes in and out of like this really like beautiful, like mesmerizing, like Wonderful Life type of song, and then the moments when it goes to like Chris,
Sue, right? And
Chris and her boyfriend, it like it gets real dark and like creepy.
It's
but
nice
then
because it's like this like right, and like Carrie, it's like glowing literally, right? And then all of a sudden you see the rope, or you see them holding it, or like Sue's sudden realization, and it gets those 10, and that was like one of the most anxious. That's like the most anxious I've ever been in a movie scene of recent memory, because it's so long. Like the amount of time that it takes, especially because of the slow-mo, from them to get to, from getting up from their seats to the stage is minutes long. And what's horrible is that us as audience members already know what's going to happen. So we're just watching her in like one of the peak sweet moments of the movie of like, wow, they love me. They're cheering me on. Holy shit, you're walking to your doom, you poor child.
Exactly.
It's fucked up, dude. It's really good shit. It's hardcore.
And it's crazy. Like, I love it because like the music blends in and out of, like we were saying, like this beautiful song to like this really creepy song, but it's also cutting back in between like the different like subjective views between like the characters, like you have like the Carrie, like her really taking in the moment, like walking in slow-mo, me like, oh my gosh, like,
this is it,
everyone
moment.
Loves me, blah 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 blah. And then you get like the teacher who's like cheering for her, but then she sees Sue and thinks Sue is just teacher. Pissed. It's but that's such a good moment because
it makes sense.
It makes so much
like,
fucking sense.
This kid's obviously pissed off because Carrie won prom queen and king with her boyfriend. You
have this already preconceived like suspicion from the teacher of like, hey, why the fuck is Tommy asking Carrie to fucking prom? Like, what's the whole deal going on here? And then she thinks it's fine, but then when she sees Sue at the prom, she's like, okay, what the fuck is going on here? Like, I really fucking like that. That shit was fucking nuts. But also, what I was like, these Chris and John Travolta are literally just chilling under the fucking stage. They're just sitting there. No one knew they were fucking there.
Apparently John Travolta like snuck beers in there too, because he's just like drinking the whole movie like whenever he wants. If he doesn't have a beer, he's literally like, hey, give me a beer. And some dude who drives up next to him is like, here you go, Will. But
big surprise to see John Travolta in this movie too.
His first role, dude.
I never thought I'd see.
First ever movie, from what I heard. Kind of crazy.
And again, Fool's just abusive as fuck. There's just abuse
hard all over the movie.
So like, if you're sensitive to that type of stuff, maybe don't watch this movie, because it is like fully on display of,
definitely,
of like how, like the lengths like people will go to manipulate people, but then also abuse people that they quote unquote care about, you know?
For sure. Definitely.
Very, very heavy themes going on in this movie for sure. So again, if you're sensitive to those types of topics,
maybe watch a trailer first. See what you think.
Maybe listen to us talk about it a little bit first before you're like, I'm gonna go watch this movie, because it is a great movie. I think there's a lot to love from this movie. It is a bona fide classic for sure. Big from time. Like the score to the character of Carrie, obviously like it's based on a Stephen King novel, so it's gonna be pretty fucking.
Did you know this is the first book he ever wrote.
Wow.
And it's also that makes sense, but the first adaptation of a Stephen King novel as well.
I think it's pretty fucking good.
I agree. It's pretty solid. It's also one of the few that he actually, or not few, but one of the ones that he actually likes, because obviously he has, differing relationship to some of the adaptations of his books.
I hate The Shining.
Yes, yeah. But this is one of the ones that he really likes, apparently.
I'm going to come out with my own Shining.
Yeah.
It's going to be ass.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently the book is also a little bit different, too. Like, it doesn't have the 70s vibe to it. Carrie's also like somewhat telepathic too, because like she can like get into people's brains and they like hear her thoughts and feel her emotions as she's like freaking out and stuff.
That makes me want to watch, because I think they redid it in like 2013 or something like that,
They did with
right?
Chloe Grace Moretz, the girl who plays Hit Girl. From what I've heard, it's not as good. They apparently made that one. They also made a made-for-TV Carrie back in like the early 2000s, and there is also a 90s sequel to Carrie.
Interesting.
Called Rage. Carrie 2 or The Rage or something like that, and
she just murders the entire world.
No, so what happens, because she dies at the end of the first movie, right? But
yeah.
What happens is that there's a kid who also has telekinetic powers, which is like introduced to us in the movie, because Carrie tells her mom like, "There's other people out there like me."
I've read about it, Mama.
Yeah, I've read about it in the book. But
I read about foosball in the book, Mama.
Yeah, literally, yeah. But fuking, she basically. There's another girl.
Vicky Valentine showed me her boobies and I
liked them. Mama. She fucking. There's another kid who is horribly bullied and eventually takes revenge in the 90s. And Sue is her name, right? The friend.
Yes.
Or not the friend, but the girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
She's a teacher now at the school that this new kid goes to, and realizes like, oh shit, this is like Carrie, right? From when I was in high school. And then I guess apparently by the end of the movie, it's revealed that this girl is like Carrie's half sister. But from what I've heard, it's an underrated, like, cheesy movie.
Interesting.
Like, it's not good, but it's like decent enough as like a horrible sequel, like a 90s sequel, you know?
That's what I heard about Exorcist 3.
Oh, I've never even heard about a third one. I knew there was a second one.
Like, I heard, because I watched a lot on The Exorcist, and I heard the second one, butt cheeks.
Okay.
But I heard the third one, not bad. Because it's based on, like, the novel that the author of the original Exorcist book wrote as like a sequel to that.
Oh, okay.
Like,
so it's like a sequel adaptation or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. But yeah, I really liked the ending, honestly, because like I was pretty fooled. I was like, oh, all right, we get one last little wholesome moment of like this poor girl did try to help Carrie, right? And she in her dream is like, I'm gonna give this like final rest. Like everybody's shitting on Carrie still, even in death. It's like Carrie White lives in hell or whatever, right? She's like, I'm gonna go put these flowers down, and like she does, and again, it's the same glow effect that you had when like Carrie's going to prom. So like, just as a viewer, we're like tricked into like, oh, we're back in like that wholesome moment. And then fucking Carrie's bloody arm comes out and grabs her, and she wakes up screaming from the dream, and she's like, ah, that was good shit,
that
bro.
generally scared the fuck out of me.
That got me too.
I did not expect. I was like, oh, fuck.
Because I, again, like I said, they got me hook, line, and sinker. I was like, okay, nice. We're ending on like a somewhat wholesome ending. I like it. It's not a happy ending, but it's like a bittersweet ending. And they're like, nope, this girl's fucking traumatized. Fuck you. Like, it's hardcore, dude. I was like, holy shit, man. But it was good.
Another thing I will say about these two movies, doctors back then didn't know what the fuck they were talking about.
Insane, bro.
Because they were like, she's young. She's just going to forget about all this that ever happened. And I'm like,
doesn't make any sense. No, she's
apparently you guys have never heard of like trauma or post-traumatic stress
and
disorder
beyond that, too,
anything like that.
She's not like, I could understand you saying that about like a 6 or 7 year old and below, but she's like fucking 15 or 16.
She's a senior in high school.
She's like 17 or 18 years old.
She's gonna remember this shit.
100% gonna remember that shit.
She's gonna scar her for fucking
life, bro.
Yeah.
100%.
But yeah, doctors are just like, hey,
it's totally fine.
She saw all her classmates get murdered. They burned down in the building.
Yeah, she's gonna forget all about it.
Yeah, who's gonna remember that? Who's gonna remember that?
Nobody's gonna remember that.
Who's gonna remember go with the telekinetic powers?
That's the other thing too. Apparently, that ending is also different in the book. In that, I guess Carrie goes home first after the prom, comes back and does still fucking kill everybody in the gym.
Damn.
But then she also proceeds to burn down the entire school. and kills like something like 400 people in the town as well. She goes on like a
fuck 'em all.
full on rage.
Fuck them all, dude.
Yeah, she
Fuck
goes
'em.
ham at the end.
They all probably sucked in that town.
One random little thing.
If
that
any of the high school kids are or like an indication of what the parents are like,
that's a good.
The whole
point.
town sucked.
Yeah, they're probably all assholes.
They were all fucking terrible.
They're just all like,
Chris is like, I'm not gonna go to detention. Fuck all this shit.
I'm not
and
going.
And her teacher has to smack the shit out of her.
I was gonna say I can't. Just on a principle matter, I can't approve of that either because it's not okay for teachers to hit students. But
I disagree.
It's somewhat satisfying when said student is a fucking asshole.
The way I was thinking about it, I was driving home. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is bad.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
Students or teachers cannot hit students, right?
But damn, that
But
student's a fucking.
sometimes someone needs to get smacked, bro.
That's all they're gonna
like,
understand.
you know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but one random little,
not by a teacher,
not by a teacher,
but
another
sometimes
student smack.
the way I was thinking about it too, I was like, I was a kid, I was doing dumb shit.
Yeah,
I probably deserved a fucking smack in here and there.
would have
like I was thinking,
by a kid.
like I was thinking, there was this one time, right, where I think I was in like 4th grade. You know me, how's that work? I'll just say some shit.
Sure.
I can be quippy sometimes. I
Sure.
got a mouth on me.
Sure.
I can, think without saying a lot of the times.
Sure.
I've since gotten better. And there are times when I want to say something and I'm like,
Maybe not.
whoa.
Yeah, let's hang on.
Just
a
feel out the situation.
Yeah.
But there was one time I was in 4th grade, and I don't know what me and this kid were going back and forth on, but we were joking, going back and forth. And he was like, oh, nobody cares about that, blah, 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 whatever we're talking about. And I was like, nobody cares about you. And I said that.
I love it. Such a 4th grade comeback.
The teacher was like, all right, we got to stay after class.
Yeah, like, you can't say that kind of
And I
shit,
was
man.
like, she was like, yeah, we can't be saying that. I was like, I was joking. Like, I didn't mean it. I was really just a quippy little comeback of like, nobody cares about you, man.
Yeah.
But again, probably a moment where my mom or dad was there. Maybe they would probably smack the shit out of me.
Hey, man, shut the fuck up. What
Yeah.
are you doing,
Probably
dumbass?
like-
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, again, there was a lot of smacking children going
Big
on
time,
in this
yeah.
movie, and I was like, I cannot get behind this.
Whoa. Yeah, it's pretty intense at times, for sure. Like we said, if that's a sensitive subject matter for you, maybe rethink watching the movie. I don't think it's like as hardcore as some of the other stuff that's out there, but it is present for sure.
I think it's very hardcore because of like it is such a real thing,
Oh yeah.
I think both of these movies are rooted in real world aspects. Whether the Exorcist, you have like science versus like reason versus like religion and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In this, you really have like a lot of abuse that's going on.
big
Again,
time, yeah.
on like all different fronts. You have like emotional, you have like abuse from your parents, you have abuse from your peers, you
Yeah.
have like emotional abuse, you have
Yeah.
like domestic abuse, especially what's going on with like Chris and her boyfriend. So it's like a lot of heavy shit that's going on.
Yeah, I'm curious as to like what other movies like because the other thing too is this, right? Which is that like it's present in the movie. It's not necessarily addressed, if that makes sense. Because like I feel like a lot of movies nowadays will make not a lot, but if a movie's gonna tackle that subject matter now, they'll make that the focus of what the movie is, and therefore the characters will have to deal with the ramifications of that. In this movie, it kind of just happens to serve to make the bad guys more bad. It's never really like explored emotionally, like aside from the fact that Carrie has a very intense violent outburst at the end. But I'm curious as to like what movies before this maybe, if any, tried to portray that type of obviously terrible violent behavior on screen, because it came out like what, 76?
Yeah.
So it's not like super fucking old. Like movies had been around for a few decades at that point, right? But again, I'm curious to see like if this was one of like the front runners, of like the first time they were depicting real type of shit like that on screen in like a big successful movie like Carrie,
I think it also might just be there for the fact of like back then that was probably just like
super normal.
Hey, your kid's acting up, smack the shit out of him.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I say like they didn't necessarily address any of it because it wasn't like an issue back then.
Yeah.
That was just something your parents
I mean,
did to you, or
it like nobody knew it was an issue.
Yeah,
it was just like, hey,
in the
this
social
fucking happens.
subconscious mind,
Yeah.
people didn't. Let's be honest, men didn't consider it an issue because they were just smacking people around all the fucking time. Patriarchy was at all-time high, like it's probably still is now. Anyway,
Yeah, especially when you have such a mutually manipulative and abusive relationship like his character and Chris have.
Oh, that one.
Where he,
that one's bad.
It's very bad.
Super
he
toxic.
smacks her and she's seductively
comes onto him so hard.
Yeah, sucking on his finger and shit like that.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
she's like, "Come on, Johnny."
what is?
whatever
It's
his
like, what
name,
is going on here?
Yeah, pretty.
Okay, you can't tell me when you're shooting that, you're like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a fucking slapstick comedy movie.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not. It was Chris, right? Who the actor that played Chris that apparently had thought that. Which, from that scene, you probably wouldn't get that. But I could see how, out of context, you don't have everything else, right?
Yeah.
You haven't seen the other scenes that they've shot. You haven't seen any cuts. You haven't seen any edits. You don't know what the flow of the movie is. So, if you're just we're gonna kill a pig and put pig's blood and spill it on, what do you call it? Yeah, by our standards today, fucked up. But I can imagine in the 70s people being like, that's a crazy slapstick comedy prank that some seniors would pull, you know?
Yeah.
So I get it. There's a lot of, one thing that I've learned from just the work I've been doing is it's editing really is the final process of the movie. Because even in shooting, sometimes things don't make any fucking sense. It does not seem like it's gonna work. Seems cheesy, it seems bad, it seems this, it seems that, whatever. And then you cut it and you add, all the other elements like the score, the sound effects, this and that, and it really all comes together. So I could see it, but the one that I don't excuse is we'll get into in a bit, but there's certain things about The Exorcist where I'm just kind of why did this take so fucking long for them to get the fucking priests in there, bro? But we'll get there. We'll get there. But yeah, Carrie was super good. I liked it a lot. Other random fun fact from that video that I watched earlier. Apparently, Brian De Palma, the director of this movie, and George Lucas were I don't know about still are, but we're very good friends at the time. And so, Star Wars came out in 1977, so they were in pre-production at the same time. And apparently, the actress that played Sue auditioned for Princess Leia, and the one who plays Tommy, I think, auditioned for Luke. I don't think it was Han. Yeah,
he's like, "Fuck, what's the director's name for?" You said what?
Brian De Palma.
Brian De Palma. He's like, "Hey George, what do you think about this?" George is like, Brian, I think you need a. You ever heard of a lightsaber?
Yeah, Carrie should have a lightsaber.
Yeah, it's a new thing I thought of for this movie.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Pretty fucking crazy. Get this, it's a fucking light sword.
It's
that
a
just cuts through
sword made
everything.
out of light.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's a saber with a light coming out of the end.
Can't
of it.
cut through anything.
It's like a regular long sword. If you think about medieval times, but it's just light.
Imagine George Lucas had everything planned out. I don't think he did have everything planned out, but imagine he did, and he's goes on the rant with him, right? And he's like, "Have you ever thought about a lightsaber? It's this thing where you get a kyber crystal because you go to this planet that has these crystals on them, and you make a thing out of it, and it's like a ritual, and it can cut through anything except for this very rare material called Beskar that only a race of people called the Mandalorians have." And Brian De Palma's like, "I'm making a high school movie, bro."
He's like, "Yeah, this movie's about this girl that got her period and then got superpowers."
It's I don't think she needs a lightsaber, bro.
Yeah. He's telling her about the telekinesis, and George's like, "Oh, so she's got the
It's
force? It's the force."
Yeah, exactly.
He's like,
"No,
yeah,
that's in my movie too."
It's just regular telekinetic powers.
Just do good old,
not the force. You know, she can't choke anybody. It's just
just moving it.
Just move stuff.
On the telekinetic powers, I don't know if it was intentional or not. I imagine it was. Or I would like to imagine that it was, but one little camera thing that I liked a lot was that early on in the movie, there's just a good shot in general of this kid kind of bobbing and weaving through the trees on his bike. Just a satisfying shot. I think it's fun to look at already. But one thing I noticed is he comes by and again, just random shitty fucking kid, doesn't even go to school with her, just comes by and is creepy Carrie or whatever, right? Just acting like a dick. And then the camera zooms in on Carrie's face. Quickly, mind you, but it zooms smoothly, right? You start here and you into her. And then the powers happen and the kid falls. Yeah. It later, when again, fucking psycho. Granted, she went through a lot. Saw all of her friends die in a fucking burning gym. But Chris tries to run Carrie over in the fucking car later, right?
Yep.
And then we get a very, very similar shot. But what I liked was that her powers are obviously elevated because she flips a fucking car this time, not a bike. And instead of a smooth zoom in, we cut. I think it's like 3 shots where it's like boom, boom, boom. And it like comes in really quick. And it feels more impactful. And I liked it because I was like, ooh, that's sweet. I saw that earlier and it was like a light move. But I saw this now and it's more intense. And it's a heavy move. I was like, ooh, that's good filmmaking right there.
A lot of intention. A lot of
Yes.
Let's think, a lot of these 70s movies, there's a lot of intention with their camera angles and their shots and like their approach to it, right? Like they don't have the luxury of being like, like post-production, we could just, maybe we'll zoom, we'll just, do this or that. They have to be very intentional. Like, okay, we're going to do this for this shot because this, and that,
It's a different time because like nowadays there is so much that is like, there's magic, right? To the special effects and the VFX and even the practical effects that we can do nowadays and stuff like that. But they have kind of become the focus of like awe and spectacle versus like, there's not a lot of camera movement anymore. Like most of the time, I feel like when I watch stuff, it's like if there is camera movement, it's artificial, right? It's like, I don't know, like I'm thinking like Doctor Strange for some reason, like the camera's pivots in it, but it's like artificial CGI, right? Like you don't see a lot of movies nowadays that are like doing anything with the camera other than like framing the shit in there and then adding a lot of elements in some way or another that like amps up the shit or whatever. But it's nice. It's
even
a different
nowadays
vibe.
when you see something slight like a fucking, oh my gosh, like it looks like they're doing like a handheld fucking with like some shaky camera movement. That even like
shake can be added afterwards,
exactly
like in post now.
But like there's even like a scene, I forget when it is. I think it's after she comes home and then takes a bath, right? She's covered in pig's blood and she's like, let me take a bath.
Disgusting.
This will be fucking
Disgusting.
great. Yeah, let me wash my face with
Pretty
just watered down pig's
gross.
blood.
Yeah.
Okay. But I think she like puts on like her gown or whatever and she's like walking upstairs and like walking into like, I forget where she's walking, but like the camera like starts to move with her and it does like this random like it does like these little shakes and I'm like, oh fuck, like
feels more intimate, feels more real.
This is fucking great right here.
The energy. Yeah, that was also just a good scene in general too, because like the movie is, I would say, climaxed at that point. Like that's definitely the highest bit when she fucking kills everybody in the gym, right? But then she fucking gets home and like it doesn't really feel like a moment of safety, I think, as an audience member. But I'm sure to Carrie it feels like a moment of safety, right? Because she gets home and has a bath, but there's like a really creepy fucking shot where like she's walking up the stairs and she goes into the bath and you see a mannequin and you see what like, maybe you're fooled, maybe you're not. I was for the first part of it and then I was like, oh shit. But like, it seems like just another mannequin right behind the door. And then she gets in the bath, closes it, and it's Carrie's mom. And she's like, like fucking creeping on her and shit.
She's like, yeah, I've changed and I've just been waiting behind this door for you this
super
whole fucking time.
hardcore, super scary. And then poor fucking thing gets literally stabbed in the back by her mom. Like, just fucking, she's like, they have a little bit of a moment and like, for a cool second, you're maybe like, all right, this is fucked up because she shouldn't be back with her like abusive mom, but at least she has like some kind of familiarity right now, like that she needs after everything that happened.
And her mom's kind of coming clean too, of like,
me
and your dad had premarital sex, and I liked it.
She's laying it out. She's like, I
was
mistakes.
okay with it.
Yes.
I liked smelling the fucking whiskey breath.
His dirty whiskey hands were all over me, and I liked it. I was like, whoa. I was like, whoa, mama, calm down.
Mama don't need to talk like
that.
Oh,
boy. Yeah. But yeah. It feels like a moment of vulnerability for a second, but then it goes back to the religion and it starts to get a little dark again. And she's like, let's say a prayer. And then she's, let's say one last prayer together. And you're like, whoa, shit.
What do you mean?
And then they start, and Carrie still doesn't really know. And then all of a sudden, fucking shank right in the back. And then fucking she falls down the stairs. Everything else happens. Apparently there was like, I think, because there is a religious undertone to the movie, I would say.
Yeah.
I don't think Carrie's powers are like satanic or anything like that. But I think originally, apparently the ending was that the house got collapsed and like broken down and shit because flaming boulders flew from the sky. So, and when they filmed it, it just didn't look convincing enough. So they cut it. and they changed it and they did it so that like Carrie's overwhelming emotion is what brought the house down on them, right? Or at least that's how it played to me.
That's how I felt too.
Yeah. But if you look, you can actually still see remnants of the boulders crashing through the interior scenes because they had already shot it, right? But that made me think that the original intent was that there was much more of a religious undertone, and that maybe Carrie's powers were satanic, and that like that ending was like, I don't know, God being like, fuck you, flaming boulders from the sky, die, satanic child, or whatever, you know what I mean? So I would have been interesting, alternate ending type of vibes.
I would believe it that, you know, originally it probably had more religious undertones because, like, you know, she is this person who is very shy, probably very impressionable, and feels a certain type of way about how her mom's raising her and about how all these other people feel about her. So she's very vulnerable and probably would be, you know, probably the first candidate for the devil to be like,
let me get that shit.
Let me get that shit, dude. I got you.
Very, again, like, it's like there's a lot of these like morally ambiguously satisfying moments, right? The gym scene at the end is obviously very obvious, right? Because she just fucking kills all of her bullies. But the other one too that I thought was good was that like at a certain point Carrie just stops giving a fuck and is like, yo mom, I have fucking telekinesis. Fuck you. Sit the fuck down, right?
She's all, go in your closet, and she's like, how about
no? Yeah, and again, as a character moment, because Carrie's our protagonist, it's very satisfying.
Go in the closet. How about you suck my ass?
Yeah,
Mom?
but then, you know, like you think of the principle of it, and it's like, okay, the way to deal with parent-to-child abuse is not by the child reversing the abuse and fucking telekinetically restraining their mother, right? So it's like, there again, it's a very... It's an interesting, like, thought-provoking movie, I think, because it, like, you really do feel for Carrie, and she is your protagonist, and you want her to get all of the things that she wants, even in, like, her final emotional moments. You're like, fucking kill those shitty kids, right? You don't give a fuck. But then you take a step back, and you're like, whoa, I just said some crazy shit. Like, I just thought some crazy... I agreed, and I wanted some crazy shit to happen, and you're like, damn. To fucking kind of, it really puts you in the shoes of Carrie. I think you go along on this ride with her. Yeah,
because I was for sure like, yeah,
fuck those fucking
kill
bastards.
These people,
they
bro.
Fucking suck.
What do you mean?
Like, it's satisfying.
You know how demented you have to be like, oh, I fucked with this girl.
Yeah,
and because I fucked with this girl and I can't go to prom, I'm gonna fuck with her more, so I'm gonna kill a fucking pig and dump pig's blood on her.
That's psycho. That's psycho. You are
Bill.
for sure the one.
You're
who
more
should be locked
evil
up than Carrie.
You're more evil than the girl that randomly has telekinesis.
Yeah, 100%. That's not her fault. Like, you're just evil. Like, I don't know what happened there, but that's who the devil truly took over.
Like, oh my god, she was so terrible, bro. Yeah. From like the beginning. Again, like I'm saying, she's walking back, eat shit,
it's
Carrie.
Hardcore, yeah.
It's PE
They
volleyball.
make all of those, because there's a group of like probably 5 to 10 girls.
Oh, dude, I
whose
related.
faces are like very present throughout the movie.
So the girl with the red hat, I related to her at the one point when Carrie's like not kind of telling her about her plan, but not telling her about the plan. And Carrie, no, not Carrie, Chris. Yeah. And Chris is like, "Oh, you're a part of it. Like, I'll tell you later.
Tell me now.
Tell me now." That's fucking me.
Yeah,
I'd be
don't
like,
do
dude,
that.
you can't
come up to somebody and be like, "I have a secret to tell you, but not till later."
Yeah,
yeah. You just wait till later to tell the secret.
I won't tell anybody.
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
but I'll tell the people that you're probably gonna tell.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll tell those people.
Do you know what else too? I was surprised by, like, super fucking hardcore. Clever thinking from like these kids, right? These teenagers, like the whole ballot thing, right? When they switch them and then they show up and he's like, they're right behind you, just start kicking. They like kiss and push and they pull him out of the jacket all smooth. I was like, that was too evil villain-esque planning. Like, that was some crazy thinking right there.
Shit was so funny because just after he was like,
I got him, yeah. Crazy thing as I tripped out on was that like I saw that apparently both the book and the movie were like, and the other one we're going to talk about as well too, were like very, very controversial when they came out, obviously.
Oh,
and were
yeah.
banned
I would
across various different places, right? And when I watched Carrie, I was kind of like, why did this one get banned? You know? And then I heard the historical context. I was like, oh, that's unfortunately due to the fact that we live in a world where it's normal for children at schools to be massacred, unfortunately. That was not a fucking thing in the 70s. So a kid going crazy and killing all of her classmates and students was fucking radical in 1976. That was probably one of the most horrific things you can come up with. They never would have thought it was even a reality. And I was just like this crazy, like circumstantial, like historical hit for me where I was like, why is that bannable? Like that's normal. And then I was like, oh fuck, that's the world we live in.
I also caught some like reverse, like, you know, like when you're learning about like Martin Luther King and like, you know, race wars and all that, that stuff like that. And you have like, you see the videos of like police, like literally fucking like using fire hoses. to like, I caught that vibe when they're in the fucking.
When she's using it to fucking blow everybody out.
And I was like, fuck yeah, you spray these fucking, these fucking white ass motherfuckers. And fuck all these people, dude. These pretentious ass
crazy
fucking scheming, conniving little these fucking people that always get away with shit like that.
Oh yeah, big time.
But now they're not getting away with shit like that. And you can tell that Chris is that type of person, especially when like, you know, her gym teacher's telling her about like the detention, like, oh, you're gonna be like, I propose like 3-day suspension and you not get and refusal of your prom tickets. Yeah. But then the school's like, oh no, like a week detention.
Yeah. And if they don't go to detention, then don't go to prom.
But Chris is just like, I'm not gonna go. I'm not
going. Yeah.
And then when she finally goes, and then she's like, you know, obviously getting put through some pretty crazy workouts. Might I add you, like 50 minutes straight of just like, oh, you're doing a bunch of shit and a bunch of that, like.
Yeah, but you know what?
Though? No. It's not like
when I saw it, I was like, that was fucking PE when you were in high school. It's fine.
PE.
You're fucking, exactly. You have the metabolism and the energy of a fucking kid still. You're fine. Like,
exactly. Yeah. But then she like fucking is like, I'm fucking done. You know, like that was just so like.
Just bratty, bro. Just fucking you, pretentious, spoiled brat.
Fuck you. Shut the fuck up. You probably have gotten everything you've ever wanted in your fucking life. And that's why you pick on people like Carrie and shit like that. And so, it was very satisfying when Carrie fucking was just like looked at her car and it just like swerved out of the way and then just like blew up. Like just Carrie just looked at it and just blew up. I was verbally like, oh fuck.
I know. I thought it was just gonna be the car crash and then she's like, no, engine implode. I was like, wow. Yeah, it was crazy.
The other part that made me go, oh shit, was when they were in the fucking gym and then the teacher that was trying to help Carrie out the whole time.
Oh yeah.
Like gets pinned up against the wall and then the fucking, I don't know what, like some overhang just comes down and just smashes her. I was like,
oh god, I know, she like falls over all fucking. I was like, oh god.
I was like, damn, she was trying to help you out. Like
she electrocuted the fucking 2 teachers that were like being assholes and
fuck
shit.
the English teacher.
What's crazy is
again,
that, like,
another character I felt like being a caricature of like a classic English teacher,
like a shitty,
just like we're gonna read poetry and does anybody have criticism and. That's not criticism.
I know, such a douchebag, for
like,
sure.
Shut the fuck. Like, I'd never had an English teacher like that.
No, I had the English teacher that I had in high school, who was probably like one of, if not my favorite teachers, was very sarcastic, but not in like a douchey way, not in like an asshole way to where they were trying to like belittle the students. Like it was like playful to kind of like. You know, because it's hard to connect. I imagine as a teacher, it's hard to connect with teenagers, right?
Yeah.
The only thing teenagers are concerned with is looking cool, right?
Yeah.
And
they're horny, bro.
They are horny. That's true as well, yes. But like, you know, they don't want to do anything because doing anything is like trying, and trying is not cool. So it's like fucking crazy cycle, right? So like, I feel like sarcasm and like joking and stuff like that is a way to get in with students. And that's relevant in the thing, right? Because everybody else in the classroom is laughing along with the English teacher. They're like, there wasn't criticism or whatever, right?
She called it beautiful.
Yeah, they're mostly just laughing, because Carrie actually had like a genuine emotional response to something. She's like, wow, that really moved me. I thought that was good art. And they're like, you feel things?
I mean, like, granted, if we're like being critical about the poem, probably not the best poem.
It is not criticism either. Like, he's not wrong, but don't be a fucking dick about it, you know? Like, the whole thing is just...
It wasn't a great poem.
It's not handled right.
But it was more about the content of the poem.
Yeah.
Like what the poem was talking about. Yeah.
He's like, it wasn't even mine. Yeah. But I liked it. I liked it a lot. I thought it was a solid movie. It definitely surprised me. I would say this movie surprised me more than The Exorcist did. It's funny that you mentioned the expectation things earlier, because this one I had lower expectations for and this exceeded it. The Exorcist I had higher expectations for in terms of fear factor, and that particular thing I liked the movie overall. We'll get into it in a bit, obviously, but the fear factor let me down.
I would agree,
in The
but I think the
Exorcist.
fear. I was thinking about it, and I think the fear is different. You know?
It is, and we'll talk about it.
Okay.
But yeah, so Carrie, to wrap up Carrie, I really enjoyed it. I agree with you. The score is awesome. I really liked the special effects work in it. I thought the telekinetic stuff was actually done pretty good and pretty convincing. And just satisfying overall character arc for Carrie. Good revenge bully type of thing or whatever. I give it probably like an 8.5 out of 10. I would say that's where I sit. 8.5.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm at an 8.5 out of 10 as well.
Yeah.
I liked a lot of it. I think the beginning was slow, but I think that is just a product of those types of movies, or I think just 70s movies in general. Like,
yeah, sure.
You know. But yeah, I liked it a lot. I liked a lot of the color schemes as well, especially when we get to like when everything's just fucking red.
Yeah, very visually appealing. Yeah.
And the prom as well. Like I think one of like the camera shots I loved.
Dude, I
the
wish my
most,
prom looked like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think one of the camera shots I loved so much was when Carrie and Tommy? Yeah, when they're dancing.
Oh yeah.
And the camera progressively start like spinning faster.
Yeah.
Because it was like, on one hand, very like wondrous as well.
Yes.
Very fantasy like oh my gosh, we're listening to this beautiful song
Getting
and we're slow
lost,
dancing and we're getting lost
yeah.
in. But also like a little unnerving.
Then you
as
get really
well,
lost, and
because
you're like,
because of like how fast
we're
they're spinning, you're like,
bro,
whoa,
they're
like,
spinning, and then the camera starts
yeah.
to spin fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And you're
agree.
like,
that
holy
was
shit.
really good. Yeah,
But I like that.
I almost
like
got
that a lot.
dizzy, bro. I was like, oh shit.
Again, I think the camera work from
Yeah.
a lot of these movies from the 70s
different vibe.
is very is
a lot more active camera work.
a lot more active. It surprised me a lot. Like I had never grew up watching a lot of movies from the 70s
Yeah.
or looking at them through like more of a critical lens of
Yeah.
like, what are the characters doing? What are the themes?
Yeah.
What are the fucking
Yeah,
what's the cameras
in a lot of
doing,
these
you know?
movies that we've been seeing, like the camera is almost like another actor on set. Like
Yeah.
they're doing stuff that
It
contributes
adds to
as
the
well.
atmosphere of
Yeah.
like the of your set and everything like that,
big
of
time.
the of what you're trying to set up and everything.
Big
But
time.
But when you start looking at things like that from a critical lens, it like adds more. So when I like,
Oh yeah.
and when I'm looking at like the camera work, I'm like, holy fuck, this is why I'm feeling like that. Or
yeah.
simple things like
you have
that.
like
You know,
reference to like explain how you're feeling. You've had the feelings, right? You've known that, you felt them, but it's different when you can like you can, like you said, like you can break down, analyze why you feel that way. And you
Exactly.
understand why the camera's doing that to make me feel this way.
But I think the other thing is like a lot of the word I kept coming back to when thinking about movies like this, 2001 and like The Shining, is they all have their own specific type of character.
Sure.
And I think that's what I love. Like each,
They're individual. They feel unique.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They feel unique. Like what makes them, what makes Carrie shines throughout the whole movie. What makes The Shining shines throughout the whole movie. What makes The Exorcist shines throughout the whole movie.
What makes Carrie carries through the whole movie.
Exactly.
What makes The Shining shines through the whole movie. And what makes The Exorcist exercises the
Whereas
whole
like, I feel like nowadays sometimes like movies can feel generally like a little similar.
Sure.
You know, like maybe the camera works pretty similar in
Yeah.
those. They have a similar type of vibe. And not that movies haven't been like that, right?
No, it's just
throughout time.
Yeah.
But I think now it's a little bit more prevalent.
Well, I
you
think
know?
I
Like
think,
when you watch like something like The Hunger Games and like The Maze Runner, pretty fucking similar.
sure. But I think it also, because we've had this conversation before, which is like, I think it also has to do with the fact that like we have like historical pick and choosiness, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
We have to live through all the shitty movies that come out now because we don't have a choice. This is the time we're living in. But if we go back to the 70s, it's easier for us to be like, these 10 movies are really good out of the hundreds of movies that came out in this decade, you know? So I think the problem is a consistent problem in Hollywood, which is like there's a lot of people who are like, we can make that movie and do an easy cash grab. People are going to come watch that, right? But it's easier to look back fondly on previous times because we can pick and choose all the best ones and be like, that was the 70s, you know, or that was the 80s, or that was this, or that was that. Yeah.
Exactly. And not that I'm trying to say The Maze Runner and The Hunger Games are bad movies at all.
Some of them are. I think some of them are also good, though.
They're really good.
Yes.
But I'm just saying the vibe of them, like when you put them side by side, They're very fucking
They're
similar.
YA novels.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
exactly.
you know, that's like classic shit.
But then like
also the survival and like
exactly. But then when you look at like like the color of them is kind of like they both have this like weird
the dystopian.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to get into too much, but
and we can do a whole podcast about that subject alone. Yeah.
But I've just been loving like the individual characters that shine throughout each of these movies. Yeah. And this is just another one of those fucking movies where I'm just gonna be like, this is one of those when I have kids, I'm going to be like, hey, sit down and let's watch.
New one I can confidently recommend.
When they're of age and I can sit down and have the conversation of like, hey, you see when this dude's smacking that chick, that's bad.
I was going to say,
not
like,
good at all.
This is one that I think would be probably pretty intense to watch as like an impressionable young person.
Oh, yeah, no.
I think if you watch this even in high school, it's probably kind of hardcore to deal with. So like... You gotta feel it out.
Feel it out.
Everybody's different, right? Yeah. Everybody's gonna have their own reactions and responses to things. But I would probably recommend watching this after you have let go of what high school is. Once you're cool with like what high school is all about, and you're like, all right, I moved on from that. Watch this movie. If you're still dealing with all that shit, maybe give it a pass because it's pretty intense.
But yeah, all these movies, again, like the movies we watched last week, and these movies, are all in their own category of like the upper echelon of like
some of the best of the best.
Some of the best.
That's also one of the benefits that we get as like a podcast happening now, right? Which is like we can look back on decades of fucking masterclass shit. And like what's great is like, and this is something that like is not entirely unique to you and I, but like, you know, we haven't seen a lot of this old stuff too. Yes. So we're getting to experience it with fresh eyes and like it's a trip. It's like you said, it's like reverse history where it's like we have references to all of the things that have come from these movies that we're watching, but like we haven't seen all of them. So it's crazy to go back and be like, oh, that's where that's from. That's where this is from. This is where that got started. Blah, blah, blah. It's fucking crazy.
It's fucking great, man.
It's good shit, yeah.
Well, speaking of classics, shall we move on to another classic?
Another horror classic.
Another horror bona fide motherfucking classic. Certified. Put a stamp on it.
Do you want to hit the introduction really quickly?
Yes.
There are some human technical difficulties that happen over here.
Yeah, someone has to relieve themselves.
Relief?
Exactly. But yeah, guys, the next movie we're going to be talking about is The Exorcist. And if you have not watched it, you've probably fucking heard about it because I know I had heard about it way before I'd fucking watched it. Exactly. And yeah, this was, again, like I was saying earlier, one of those movies that I went in with pretty fucking high expectations, and the expectations were met. I think this is one of those movies that since it did come out when it did come out, like a lot of the practical effects can maybe not look the best and maybe look a little bit cheesy, and you're like, oh, this is a scary movie, blah, 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 blah. But I think it is really scary because a lot of what this movie is rooted in is like real world fucking shit that people believe in. And what is that? Science. A lot of people believe in science, and a lot of people believe in religion. And you know, when you're talking about The Exorcist, you're talking about some religious thing going on, like an exorcism. You know, someone's possessed with a demon. You got to get someone, the power of Christ compels you, and we got to exorcise this demon, right? But yeah, this was a fucking doozy. So let me read you guys the description of The Exorcist. Has a 78% on Rotten Tomatoes, 8.1 out of 10 on IMDb. 80% of people liked this movie amongst Google users. So yeah, here's this description. The Exorcist came out December 26, 1973. One of the most profitable horror movies ever made. This tale of an exorcism is based loosely on an actual event. When young Regan, played by Linda Blair, starts acting odd, levitating, speaking in tongues, etc., etc., her worried mother, played by Ellen Burstyn, seeks medical help, only to hit a dead end. A local priest, played by Jason Miller, however, thinks the girl may be seized by the devil. The priest makes a request to perform an exorcism, and the church sends in an expert, played by Max von Sydow. Sorry, I don't know really how to pronounce names. And yeah, he is there to help with the difficult job. So yeah, again, something that if you have deep religious beliefs, probably going to be pretty fucking freaky, you know, like this. I think one of the reasons why this movie was so scary when it came out is, one, the internet was not a thing back then, so people couldn't be like, I'm gonna look this up or I'm gonna look that up. It is very much what you read or what you believe in, what you've been told. But also religion was super big. Not that religion is not big now, but I think you have a lot more
common.
Yeah, much more common in households, across America or just across the world in general. Whereas now you have people that are like, I'm atheist, I'm this, I'm that, I don't believe in this, or I'm spiritual, but I don't believe in religion.
We're not perfect, but generally the world has come to terms with the fact that people believe in different things.
Exactly. Yeah. Whereas back then in the 70s, everyone was like going to church.
Christian
everyone
or
believed.
Catholic,
Everyone believed in Jesus Christ, and things like that. So when you watch a movie about the devil, or not even the devil, a demon possessing a young girl, Pazuzu,
right?
Yeah,
I think that's what it is.
Yeah. It's pretty fucking freaky, man. Yeah. It's pretty fucking freaky. And there's a lot of things that are freaky to me. I'm not going to say I'm the most religious person out there. I'm not even probably the slightest religious of person, but I do believe in there being...
I believe in higher power.
Else.
I don't believe in I don't believe in any traditional religious.
And I will say
beliefs.
I've been baptized. I did do my first communion and everything like that.
Did you get your confirmation?
I did not do that.
I didn't either. Respect.
Hey, there we go.
Train right
here,
here,
it got to a point where again, my parents never forced any of this on me. There was a time where hey, every Sunday we're going to church, and that was just the thing.
Yeah. With perspective now, I kind of feel like I only ended up going to catechism as long as I did because my parents didn't have anything to do with me after school.
Yeah,
they're like, it's easier to just send you to church school. You'll be looked after by adults,
Yeah.
And then once I got to high school and I was old enough to just go home by myself.
But yeah,
you don't have to.
Yeah, after catechism and after I did my first communion and all that stuff, they were like, if you don't want to do this, you don't really have to. They're like, baptism, had to get baptized. First communion, we had to have you do that.
You don't really have a choice. I feel like you get baptized when you're a baby too.
But they're like confirmation. And you're like, you don't have to. If you don't want to get married in a church, you didn't.
If I'm not mistaken, that's a little bit more intense. Mm-hmm. Baptism again happens to anybody. You just dunk your head in some water and have a ritual, and you're good to go, right? And then communion, you when you're a kid, you just kind of have to be present to generally,
so I can eat the body of Christ.
Yeah, but I think confirmation is I don't know if they test you, but I feel like it's a little more intense in terms of learning what's actually in.
Well, yeah,
the
it's
Bible.
if you want to get married in a church,
you have to be confirmed.
You have to be confirmed.
You know what's
and stuff
cool though,
that.
and I learned this from one of my older cousins, is that a great, I don't like capitalism, but this is a great capitalistic fucking package that you can do, which is that apparently there are retreats that double as wineries where you can do a weekend getaway and snap it all out in a weekend.
That's so smart.
So let's say you get together with somebody who is religious and wants to be married in a church, right? And maybe you don't. You just be like, hey babe, let's go hit this weekend winery retreat. And I can get confirmed.
At the same time.
If you're not already confirmed, you can be confirmed, and we can do what we want to do.
That's so fun.
I was
I can't be mad at that.
I was like, gas. I was like, fire. Honestly, that's legit.
Like you said, you hate capitalism, but you can't be mad.
That's a good package, bro.
That is the most convenient. I get to get boozed up, and
Jesus is cool with it. What? He's gonna confirm me?
This fool got to be cool with it. This fool,
as a Christian.
This fool put some of his blood in a cup and said,
crazy.
hey, you know what this is? This is wine.
Huh? He's
Drink.
like, listen.
That's so okay. That is. I was thinking about that right now. That's pretty fucking. I'm not gonna say it didn't happen, but I'm not also gonna say it did happen because I don't know. I was there. I was there. But imagine being there at the Last Supper, and Jesus is just he just has a knife, and he's just like, hey Jesus, what are you doing over there? It's all good. I'll tell you guys later,
Yeah.
And everyone's just like, Jesus has been real quiet today. Normally he's talking a little bit more. He's the life of the party, but all of a sudden,
he doesn't have a lot of energy.
He's just,
kind of tired.
And he's sitting there, and he's just like, hey man, I've had a long week. Talked to my dad, and yeah, man, I'm probably gonna have to go away for a couple days.
Yeah.
And so this is probably the last time that we're gonna get together. And I know this might seem weird, and I know you guys are probably thinking, what's Jesus doing over there?
Mm-hmm.
He's got a little knife. He's kind of going away at his arm over there. I don't know what he's doing.
Keeps grabbing all of our cups randomly.
But here, I portioned out pieces of my skin for each of you. And everyone's like, oh, and he's like, I know what you're thinking.
It's bread.
I know what you're thinking.
It's
I know
bread.
what you're thinking. Just watch this. Watch this. It's bread. It's bread. And I'm sorry, there might be people that are really religious out there.
I know.
Might be
we're just making jokes.
But it's just,
we respect your beliefs. We're just making jokes.
Think about it.
Yeah.
If you were there and he was just like, hey, you see this piece of my arm? And it's actually bread.
You might be kind of tripped out.
Eat it.
You know what? More power to you and more power to them, right? Again, Whether did it or not happen, we don't know, because that is some legit fucking belief right there. That is some hardcore power of trust. Of like,
Jesus, this is your skin, but if you believe hard enough,
it's bread.
It's bread.
And you can eat it and you'll be part of me. And they were like, fuck yeah, dog.
Peter ate that shit and he was like, it is bread.
My guy.
Yeah.
Like, that's some fire. Is that French bread?
Yeah,
Do you throw some garlic on that bitch?
But it is just like, damn, you think about that and imagine just being there. Again, being just Peter, just sitting there. I don't know what Jesus has been doing at the side of the table this whole time. He's like, hey, take this, all of you. This is my body.
Imagine the dude sitting immediately next to Jesus, and they're just kind of sitting there like with this horrible look on their face, and everybody like next to the table is just like, hey, are you cool? Like, what's up? We're partying. What's good? It's a party. And he's just like, he's just like, oh God, I don't know what's happening. It's not what we signed up for, bro.
And just after, like, you're eating, like, his skin, you're just like, all right, cool, all right. I just had to eat his skin, this is all. And he's just like, hey, part 2.
Yeah.
Part 2. Guess what?
You got to wash it down with something.
Yeah, exactly. You can't just eat something and not have a drink.
I don't want you to be parched.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
But yeah, that was our interpretation of the Last Supper as a comedic point of view.
Yes.
You know?
Again, we respect your beliefs.
Yeah.
We just like jokes. That's
Yeah,
all.
exactly.
It's a good time.
Just sit there, just think about it. If you were there, like if your best friend just invited you over to dinner
It'd be crazy.
and was
And
like, hey,
started
can
pulling
you
some
just,
magic tricks.
and can you eat my pinky right here? And you ate it and he's like, haha, sourdough. You'd probably be pretty tripped out.
You're like, whoa, that's cool.
And then if your homie went away into a cave for 3 days and then came back
Was alive.
and was alive,
after dying. That's crazy.
he's invited to every single party.
Yeah, for
Hey,
sure.
He's going to do this thing where he disappears and he
That's
just comes back.
street cred for life.
Yeah.
Yeah. That fool came back from the dead.
But yeah, The Exorcist.
Oh, yeah.
We were talking about religion and everything, how this is
It's like
really...
not even about him. He's barely in it. But
Yeah.
I will say this. It's like this movie put a thought into my
Ooh,
head that
and there is a caveat to this because I watched the director's cut.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. I
You
watched
watched
the
the
original.
original.
Yeah, which was like, I think there's only 10 minutes of added footage, but
Mm-hmm.
apparently it's still cut differently. And like apparently the intro's different, which we'll talk about right now when we get into it. But yeah, I will say this is that like, a thought popped across my mind that I've never had before as far as I know, and I didn't think I would ever had it, but I was like, yo, these priests are kind of badass. I was like, yo, these priests are kind of getting down right now. I was like, exorcise that fucking demon, bro. Like, I was in it.
compels you.
I got pulled in, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I was like, get that motherfucker, put Jesus on that bitch. I was like, damn. I got down. I was like, for sure, like, all right, this is gas.
Put
Like,
Jesus on that
I
bitch.
was like, yo, this is gas, man. This is fucking fun.
I don't think put Jesus on that bitch is a sentence that you can say.
Okay, you're probably right. You're probably right.
But it's fine.
But you know what? The feeling and the intent behind it is what I mean. I could phrase it differently. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised at the fact that I was like, fucking superheroes, bro. They're fucking fighting the extras. They're fighting the demons right now.
Dude,
like,
they really are like superheroes.
especially Max von Sydow, what is like Father Marin, I think,
Yeah,
right? The
Father
older
Marin.
dude for sure comes in as like some Nick Fury type shit of like, we need
like,
someone with experience.
Exorcism. I've done this
Done
before.
that before, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
Been
yeah.
there, done that.
Yeah.
Actually, the same demon.
Yeah, seriously, yeah. Yeah, I saw this funny thing actually too, because I told you I watched a video for each of them that was like, you know, top 10 things you didn't know. And apparently, and this is probably just like random happenstance, because I'm sure the, you know, creators of the story weren't really thinking about it too in depth, but apparently Pazuzu, the demon in like the history that they come from, is like not that terrible. Like they're almost like they protect like certain people and like certain times of stuff. Like they're not like 100% evil demon. Someone almost compared them to like John Wick.
Well,
In
doesn't
the,
he
like-
isn't Pazuzu like this like god of like wind type shit that like
Yeah.
brings like disease and stuff like
Yeah,
that?
oh well, but it also
I was
can,
gonna say, that's a pretty bad guy.
no, but also protects people during times of plague and stuff like that as well.
okay.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like almost like a John Wick-esque character where it's like, yeah, they could bring the fucking fire.
He's a morally ambiguous character.
That's what I'm saying. Is it's like in traditional context, the demon Pazuzu is more of a morally ambiguous one, where versus in this like depiction,
He's bad.
For sure, fucking evil. Hardcore demon spirit. Yeah, definitely.
Let Jesus fuck you.
Oh, yeah, those lines are crazy. I heard this shit that apparently Max von Sydow forgot his fucking line because he was so shocked by Linda Blair's fucking dialogue that he was like, and they had to cut. Like, veteran actor at this point. Like, he's a very veteran actor now, but even in the 70s was already like a G, you know? And like this little kid would like fucking flustered him.
Your mother sucks cock.
Dude, hardcore shit. Yeah.
I would for sure get taken.
Even
if
watching
this,
it, I've heard the like, you know, my dad tell me the lines before, like various people in my life be like, yeah, they say this and that or whatever. But even hearing it, I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of crazy. It's a little intense.
Yeah, if like this young girl that I probably assumed he'd probably never met before in his life.
No, yeah.
Was just like,
your mother sucks cocks in hell.
I'd be like,
oh, okay.
Wait, this is what
we're dealing with.
This is what we're doing right now. This is okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, okay, let's get into
let's
it. Right?
Let's redo the scene.
Yeah.
Okay, but yes.
Let's reset from the beginning.
So your movie opens up in Iraq, yes?
Yeah, with the dig.
Okay.
And yeah.
My movie opens up with you see like the house. Like it shows like the house.
Yeah, exterior.
Which I don't think is like a bad way to open up because it's like, oh, you're going to see this house. Like it's it is this sort of ominous.
It's the main location.
Yeah, you see the house. It's at night. It's really dark. Like there is this sort of ominous feeling about it. And you're like, okay, something's going to happen with this house. I don't know what, but something is going to happen. Yeah. But then it does immediately cut to Iraq. So it is sort of like
pretty quick. Pretty similar.
You're like, kind of random. That it just like shows you this house
first.
And then it's just going to be like, oh, but we're not going to get to that yet. We're just actually going to go to a whole different side of the world.
Let's do this as we go through. As we explain the differences between them. Because you watched the extended one, let's give you're going to give your seal of approval as far as the changes go.
Okay.
So what would you prefer in this first particular change? Would you rather just go straight to Iraq or do you like the addition?
I think going straight to Iraq is better.
Okay.
Because I don't like you. It's like blue balls, right? You just you set me up.
Sure.
And then you just take me away.
Okay.
And it's like not that it's bad. I don't think it's like a terrible like artistic thing to do.
Yeah.
But
we can call change number 1 maybe unnecessary.
Yeah. Or no. Well, what would you? Well, so are you considering? So the director's to me, I consider the director's cut the original movie, and the theatrical cut like what he had to change in order to make it serviceable for everybody else.
Typically, I would agree with you, but again, referencing the videos that I watched, apparently the reason why there was another cut was because the writer of the novel worked very closely with the director across the whole production, but wasn't happy with the theatrical release. So the director's cut in this case is almost like a director/author's cut, where Brian De Palma was like, I'm going to put more of the stuff that you wanted in the movie as well from what was in the book.
And he's like, yeah, it's just 10 more minutes.
Yeah, I guess, right? Yeah, exactly. It's like, I just wanted 10 minutes, bro. Yeah. Give me that in the movie? Fuck. Yeah. But yeah, so like...
I just need 10 minutes, man.
Yeah, just 2 more minutes, please. But yeah, so it's like, because I do agree with you. I feel like typically a director's cut is what they would have wanted to put in theaters without any restraints. But like this one's a slightly different case where it's like the person who made the original story is also like, but I want more of the book in there. Put more of the book or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I will say the first change. Okay, yeah. If we're going from the theatrical changing to the directors, then I would say that first change is probably unnecessary. Okay. I don't think you need it.
Okay.
But again, from like an artistic standpoint of like, let's open up on this house and you get this ominous sense of there is something supernatural that's going to go on.
Yeah.
I like it, but...
Stick with it a little longer.
Yeah. Either stay there or just start in Iraq. So I prefer the start in Iraq and you start the story there.
Okay.
Because it is sort of like this, like, jarring, like, I didn't expect to start here. I didn't expect to start in Iraq.
Yeah,
this
definitely.
is crazy.
Yeah. Another one, too, random, like, again, just a thing that is a purely a fact of, like, historical context, right? But post 2001, the fact that you open straight onto Iraq and the first thing you hear is, I don't know exactly how to say it, so I'm very sorry, but I think it's like Allahu Akbar, right? Which is, I think it's like praise God in like Arabic, right? again, post 2001, after like terrorist attacks are like a thing.
Someone's gonna be like
in the world. Yeah, it's like a little bit like whoa, right? But like you wouldn't think of that in 1976. But just a random thing that I thought of when we were watching it. Yeah.
But yeah, so you open up on Iraq.
Yeah.
You open up at the dig.
Yep.
And people are digging for something. I don't really necessarily know what they're digging
It's
for.
kept as a mystery. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just kind of see shit happen. And then you're introduced to Father Marin. You see him as like an old dude and like, cause some guy runs up and it's like, hey, we found something. He's like, where? And he's like, over there. I forget what he tells him. And then he fucking over there. And he goes over there.
Yeah.
And then he shows up and he like finds like mysterious statue, like a little mini kind of sculpture thing, right? That like shows like, you know, a spooky face, like a scary carving of a face.
And a spooky.
And a spooky, yeah. Have you ever, really quick side tangent, have you ever watched Los Spookies? Do you know what I'm talking about though? Okay, I've seen season 1 and we have to do that at some point.
I'm down.
Side tangent concluded. But yeah, there's also at some point, I can't remember what the exact order is, but there's like a good shot that I really like where Max von Sydow, I think it's after he's like, oh shit, this thing's demonic. And he's like standing on this ridge and they like show like almost like a face off shot of like him standing like directly across the statue, like the big like demon that I assume is like supposed to be the demon, right? And I thought it was a good shot. I thought it was cool. It felt very like, you know, it was a good setup of like, oh, okay, he found something that he's afraid of. He sees this like demonic entity and it's like this face off of like the church, the religion, right? Character versus like the spirits and shit.
So in your version, do they have the part where because in the extended version, he like finds that he, if I'm not mistaken, he goes to like wherever he's like stationed at, and this dude's writing something. And he talks about like, oh, do you really have to fucking leave, blah blah blah, blah and shit like that. And there's that clock. The clock stops ticking.
Yeah.
But then like Father Marin makes like a trek to where that statue like is actually like standing, and then he sees like these two dogs fighting.
Yeah.
And shit like that. And then he sees the guy with the fucking white eye standing there. Okay, so that's in your...
And then he like goes in for like the drink, right? And he like takes the pill and shit, right? And his like hands all shaking and stuff. Or is that a little bit after?
That's a little bit... So I think the drink is before.
Okay, because I do remember those shots. So it is in the regular movie too, because I know what you're talking about. But I don't know. Maybe I'd be interested. Maybe we can do a revisit at some point. Like we can save it for next year. Let's keep it on the backlog, right? And you can watch the regular, and I can watch the extended.
Hell yeah!
And we'll see. You know, we got a whole new episode of content from the same movie. But yeah, those shots are familiar to me. Yeah, and then after that happens, I'm bad. You're usually better at remembering like how we move along in the story. Because we after all of that Father Marin stuff in the beginning, we move back and see what's her name shooting, right? Like we're introduced to like the mom is like an actor.
I don't think she's shooting. I think if from what I remember, she's like laying on her bed and she's like writing some stuff down. I think she's trying to memorize lines, and that's when she like hears stuff in the attic. And she's that's when you're first like, okay, something's going on.
Spooky's happening in the house.
Yeah, she hears stuff in the attic, and she goes and tells the people who I'm assuming either work for her.
They work for her. Somebody calls them servants at some point. So it's like 1970s.
And she's telling me like, hey, there's rats in the attic.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I felt this was such like a very much reason versus like belief theme that we have going on.
Yeah,
because she is very much on like the side of like, hey, I heard something creaking up in the attic, therefore it must be rats.
Yep.
And the I forget what his name is, but he's like, there can't be fucking rats. Like, it's clean up there. Like, what are you talking about? You know, so it is this like, no, I heard this, I know. And he's just like, hey man, I'm just telling you what I fucking believe.
Seriously,
you know?
I know. Yeah.
And he's like, okay, like, I guess I'll go check for traps, blah, 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 and stuff like that. And then I believe from there, then you go to see her like shooting at the movie, blah, 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 or whatever. And she's playing like this teacher where I don't even know what the fuck's going on at the movie.
Me neither. Good shot though, because I really liked the meta aspect of like, again, I don't know if there's historical context for this. I haven't watched every single movie that came out before this, so I don't know if this was a thing, but I like when it happens now. And it's cool to see it as far back as like, when did this come out? Like
73.
73. Okay.
3 years before Carrie.
Yes. So pretty old. It's just 50 years old at this point, right? 60 years old. Sorry. But
no, 50.
50?
Yeah.
30 plus 20, you're right. I can math. We're a math podcast sometimes. But yeah, a really cool meta shot of seeing the movie film a movie being filmed. And like she's walking along, she moves out of her trailer, discusses shit with the director, and then she's like,
Burke.
Yeah, you see her like walking through the crowd, and then like the makeup person like tries to put shit on her, and she like waves her off and stuff, and then like goes and does the scene, and we kind of like settle into like the shot that is also being shot in the movie. And it was just really cool. I liked it. It was a good moment.
Yeah, I also like when things are meta like that as well. Like I like being like, oh, this actress is playing an actress.
Yeah.
This is
it's
fun.
good.
You gotta act like you're acting.
It's especially cool because like it's not the focus of the movie, but it's a nice little fun bit.
There's a lot of really like nice shots that I like. Like there's a lot of wide shots of like you see the bustling like sort of campus that they're on, people moving around, and then you see like Father Karras for the first time, and it like kind of zooms in on them a little bit. Like there's a lot of camera work. Like again, in these 70s movies where camera work was very important. Yeah, you know, you didn't have a lot of CG. You couldn't do a lot of things. You know,
granted, this movie did
graphically
push the forefront of special effects during its time.
But even still, a lot of it is practical.
Yes, it was a different time for effects. Yeah, definitely.
So I like the practicality of the effects. I like a lot of the camera work, you know, that is used. A lot of like the objective shots when you're like just sitting there and you are just a fly on the wall watching a lot of the shit happen versus like the point of view of a character. You know, I thought that was like adds to a lot of just like, I don't know, just like the creepy aspect to it, you know? Like it's one thing to see things from a character's point of view, but just to be there objectively and just to observe everything that's going on is like, all right.
Yeah. Because they really do, like you said, right? There's like this idea of like reason versus religion kind of thing in it. And like for a while, they kind of leave you to your own devices. Like the movie doesn't really tell you, or okay, this is one of the parts where I thought a little fucking dumb. I'm not gonna lie, but
I'm ready.
Okay, but I can see what they were going for, right? Which was that I think the intention was to leave you in this suspension of disbelief of like, okay, wait, is this reason? Like, is she tripping? Is she psychotic? Is she this? Is she whatever, right? For a while before they finally cross the breach of like, nah, they got to get a fucking priest in here to exorcise this chick because she's possessed by a demon, right? It takes a minute for the movie even to fully admit this is a demon, right? So I like that. The one thing I had an issue with was like how long they denied that as characters within the movie. Because like from the fucking get-go, the very first thing that the doctors see, I have a very hard time rationalizing that they would be like, science can do this. I'm like, nah, that chick's being a demon from like day one, bro. No fucking way in the 70s you're going to try to tell me science can explain this. Like, that was the only thing I had a little trouble with. It didn't like totally suck me out of the movie, and it's not even really like a negative or anything. But like, I did think about it where I was like, you're doctors. Like at a certain point you should be like, some shit's going down that I don't fucking know about.
Well, again, I think it is like a lot of that like science versus like religion. You have these doctors who are very much rooted in science and the belief that science tells all, you know? Not that it doesn't, you know? Science tells us a lot, you know? But they're very much of like, there's got to be a scientific reason for the way she's acting.
That's true,
right? And not that that's wrong of them to believe.
No, but it's almost
just like
that
it's
instincts.
not like just not like not that it's wrong of someone who is very deeply religious. To believe that there is a spiritual aspect to what's going on.
100%.
You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Say someone's fucking knee hurts and they're like, oh, the reason your knee hurts is because the fucking this demon is blah blah blah, shit like that, you know. And then doctor's like, actually the reason your knee hurts is because
it's inflammation in the body.
Stuff like it's literally you know, I'm not gonna say the same thing, but but back then, and a lot of it is like seeing is believing type shit.
Definitely.
You don't have the internet, you know, you have just like books and like records of like, oh, what this person said and like what this person said that this person said, you know. So like it takes them a lot to, like, it's not until the doctors actually make the house call and they see what's going on for them to be like, just think about an exorcism.
See, that was the one that bothered me because they don't make the call until like after the second one. Because they come, they bring her, the family brings her in and they do the very intense scene of like the whatever fucked up procedure they had back then of sticking her and letting her fucking neck blood spew out.
That shit.
Hardcore.
Oh my gosh, bro.
You know what's crazy? So like again, that was another thing that apparently got this movie at a fucking hot level for people. Became very controversial because they're passing whatever, right? People passing out, blah blah blah, super intense. But funnily enough, the medical community was super down because they were like, yeah, that was a real medical procedure that people did, and that's how it worked. Thank you for truly depicting how hardcore that shit was, right? So, like, two sides of it.
But I think what this movie does so well is preying on those very small fears that people have. Yeah. Like those phobias of, like, going to the doctor and being hooked up to these and blood and shit like that and being like, we're going to put this on display. Like, again, like, this and Carrie. Yeah. Like, as much as Carrie is fucked up for being, like, this movie about, like, abuse and shit like that, like, it is rooted in real-world shit that goes on, and that's what makes it very scary for people, you know? People that were super religious watching The Exorcist were probably like, dude, no, this can fucking happen, and especially you don't under fucking stand, you know?
Especially when there was, like, less understanding of mental illness, and they were like, anything could fucking happen if she's psychotic, you know? Like, even this shit or whatever. But, like...
Well, yeah, even this movie tries to be, like, on the, you know...
They bring, like, it reminded me of, again, just, like, obviously this came first, but it reminded me, like, historically context of, like, where we grew up watching of, like, Split, where it's, like... That idea of like, yeah, split personality can like exceed the limits of human limits. Like, for example, a mother who like sees her child trapped in a car can lift it like it's fucking nothing to get her baby out and shit, right?
A 90-pound mother like sees a child trapped under a tire and fucking lifts that, you know, shit like 12 feet.
Shit can happen, right? Like the human brain is very powerful and it can do crazy shit, right? But like, again, it just like went on a little too long for me. It was one of the things where, again, I was just kind of laughing at a certain point where I was like, you guys saw her spit like green shit. Like she was whipping up and down on the bed all by herself. That shit's moving and practically floating and stuff. And you're like, well, they could be muscle spasms. And I'm like, no, they fucking cannot. That is... Some demon shit.
I think it's the doctor that also that has like the mustache that gets invited where he's like, well, we got to do another test to really rule out the lesions. Whereas I think the other doctor is starting to be on the fence of like, freaking out. Okay, maybe this isn't medical.
He's the one who does actually be like, have you ever heard of exorcisms before?
That line made me laugh so much because it's very much just like, you ever heard of an exorcism?
Yeah, seriously. I know. She's just like, we don't know what the fuck to do.
So casual and just like, yeah, you ever heard about an exorcism? I actually read about it in a book one time, and I thought it was a really intriguing idea. You know, this whole idea about a demon entering a human body and a priest having to bless the body and having to extract the demon.
Exorcise the demon?
That goes anything beyond any medical expertise we have here.
You know what I did like and I did appreciate was that the fact that I feel like an Exorcist movie now would be like, oh, your child needs to be exorcised. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure I know how to do it, but it's a long shot. I don't know. I think I have it in my back pocket. And then, of course, they whip it out of their back pocket, right? Like, I like in this movie that they're like, people haven't done a fucking exorcism since the Dark Ages. What the fuck do you mean you want an exorcist? It doesn't happen anymore.
Exactly.
Like, I like that. I thought that was cool because I was like, ooh, okay, cool. This puts our protagonist at a disadvantage because of the title of the movie, we know that's what needs to happen, but they don't know how to do it yet. Like they have to figure out how to make that happen. And I thought that was really good because like I was under the assumption that like Father Karras was gonna full on superhero just be like whip his cross around like a fucking revolver and be like, let's exorcise this bitch or whatever, you know what I mean? Like some kind of shit like that. Obviously it's exaggerated, but you know, I liked it. I thought it was a nice roadblock.
It adds a scope for the audience of like, oh, this shit hasn't been done in hundreds of years. So as the audience, you're like, oh wow, this must be really fucking hard. This is like, this must be really rare if people don't do this all the fucking time.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, because the thing that gets, and I hate to always harp on like fucking like Marvel movies, but like oh, the world's gonna end, you know, fucking superheroes save the world every fucking day, you know. Whereas here, exorcisms aren't being done every fucking day.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure. Yeah, it definitely creates like more tension behind the circumstances.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I also like Father Karras in this movie because he is that like middle ground of like. Again, we have this battle of like science and reason versus religion, and he is like this priest who's also a psychiatrist, you know? So very like conflicting professions, right? Something that is, you know, something like a priest that's wholeheartedly rooted in belief and, you know, religion and things like that. Whereas a psychiatrist is, you know, rooted in science and observations and fucking hypotheses and experiments and all this shit.
Yeah, because we learn too later, right, that like it's not necessarily the path that like he chose. Like I think it's once he meets up with the mom, where she asks him, she's like, "How do you go about like getting to where you are?" And he's like, "Well, like I joined like the clergy or whatever, and like because I joined specifically so that they could put me through the psychiatrist stuff. So, like I learned psychiatry.
He's like, I went to Harvard, I went to here, I went to there.
Yeah, so he's almost like a psychiatrist first and like a priest second, right? And like even before he comes into contact with any of the supernatural stuff that's happening in this movie, he already has doubts. Separate from the kind of shit that's going down. It's crazy because the fucked up horrible shit that's happening, the exact opposite of a miracle, is what actually like confirms his belief again, which is like a crazy like, you know, switcheroony doony. Usually it'd be like a miracle, right? It's like, oh my god, how beautiful, I believe in like this shit again. But
this child died and miraculously came back to life.
Yeah, God is real, right? But in this one, it's like, this child's fucking possessed. God has to be real, please. Yeah, like
God's real because the devil's real.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But
only a Sith
good.
deals in absolutes.
Yeah, there you go, man. But yeah, it's a good. It's nice because it doesn't feel like forced or anything like that. Like that feels like where we come upon the character. That feels like where Father, what's his name?
Father Karras.
Karras, thank you. I was gonna say Mercus. I was like gonna blend Father Marin and
Damien Karras.
Yeah, Demi.
His struggle also feels very real as well, and not forced. Of like this, you know, adult who has this parent who is old, who obviously needs help, and he's trying to tell her needs help, but she is very adamant on like, no, I'm fine.
This is my house. I'm not gonna leave this shit.
Exactly, and that's something that, like, you know, I haven't dealt with yet. But I imagine when parents get older, or when kids get older and stuff like that, that's something that they have to come to grips with at some point in their life. Of like, hey, my mom or dad can't realistically take care of themselves.
Yeah, shouldn't live alone anymore.
So how do I help them?
Yeah.
You know, and
without
if I
crossing
can't,
any boundaries,
exactly, and if I can't do it, and you know, then obviously what happens with his mom, she gets put, like, you know, something happens with her, and she ends up having to go to like this, you know,
basically like an insane asylum,
mental institution, basically. And I saw on Amazon, because shout out to Amazon Prime, they always have like the little fucking
the trivia facts.
Yeah, the trivia facts, and that was actually shot at a real.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, and so some of those women were actually like real.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah,
okay.
And so they had to do like hidden camera type shit with
I was
that.
gonna say there's a couple behind the scenes things that I had heard as well that like I think is probably I would consider unethical.
That's super unethical. Shooting at a fucking.
That's really bad. Another one too that's like not terrible, but it's kind of crazy. Is like they really genuinely froze the room.
Oh yeah,
that they shot in with like industrial meat locker fans. Apparently, the director would walk around set and fire a gun before takes to put them on edge for the scenes and stuff like that without them knowing. The father who comes upon Father Karras at the end of the movie is a real priest, and apparently he wasn't cutting it in the acting department at that last scene when he comes upon Father Karras. And so the director is like, hey, do you trust me? And he was like, yeah. Slapped that motherfucker across the face and said action. And so like there's a couple stories like that where I heard where I was like, damn, Hollywood was fucking wild back in the days, because that's the type of shit that you cannot do anymore, like at all. So it's crazy. Some crazy stories behind the scenes to create what is obviously a very, very good and successful film. But
at what lengths are you willing to go to create the successful film?
Yeah. Kind of crazy, man. Kind of intense. Yeah.
But it's so weird because it's like, again, when you watch this, it's like, fuck, these people, like, you really get the sense
that they're because they
that these people are fearing
they're
for their fucking lives.
And because
you know?
that's literally because they're fucking firing live rounds behind them on set and shit, bro. Like, it's crazy. It is. It's intense. But yeah, same thing with like, you know, Hitchcock and Psycho. Like, Full actually busted up on the actress with a knife and was like stabbing around her and shit. That's how they got the shot, you know? Like, just Hollywood was just fucking lawless back then.
Yeah,
like, there wasn't all the same protections and like shit that we have now. So it's
crazy
like,
shit.
yeah,
crazy
yeah,
shit.
wild.
But yeah, I did see like the how they had to really freeze like the room and shit like that, and it's like, yeah, that's fucked up. But it's like, fuck, dude, how else back then are you going to? Realistically,
you can't just add the breath in with CGI. You can't I mean, they can act cold, right? But obviously it's going to be better if they are cold. Like, yeah. No,
and especially like when you, because the scene when you walk into the room when it's visibly cold, you don't see the actual like features of the person walking into the room. It is just like the silhouette, and then you see the breath. That adds so much. Yeah, you don't just the atmosphere. You don't of the
just
movie.
See the cold. You
feel
the
it
cold
because you know you've stepped outside and you
felt that first shudder. That you see your breath. You're like, yeah, definitely. Yeah,
you know that. You know when winter's coming when you step outside at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Winter is coming.
You know when that shit's coming. When you step outside and it's 7 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, your nipples get a little hard.
Oh yeah,
and then you see your breath when you're fucking breathing outside. You know.
You know what always trips me out is
nipples get hard.
I know it's
your balls shrivel up.
Oh, that's the
that's when you know it's really
that's
fucking
when you
cold.
know it's real cold. The one that always trips me out when I'm like, damn, it's cold, is when I can see my breath inside somewhere.
Oh yeah.
When I'm like in my house and like a couple windows are open and I do it and like I can see my breath, I'm like, what the fuck is going down, bro?
It's cold.
Yeah,
here.
it is way too cold. Yeah, but yeah, crazy behind the scenes set stories and stuff like that. But the character Father Karras gets introduced, and then he kind of like takes a side seat for a minute. Like, all of the other stuff is happening. He's introduced relatively early on, and all the other stuff we're talking about, like, you know, the back and forth of like the doctors trying all these different diagnoses and stuff like that or whatever, like, is happening simultaneously. And it's not till like I feel like almost halfway through the movie where they're finally like, maybe we should try an exorcism. You know, like it takes a minute, and then
they're exhausting all of their scientific routes first. You know? They even do hypnosis.
Yeah,
which
that's
crazy.
Right. Yeah, and then those motherfuckers get fucked up.
That fool got his balls fucking squished.
Yeah, that shit was hardcore, dude. Yeah,
you felt that one.
Oh, and then also
another one of the scenes where you feel it.
Oh yeah.
You felt that shit.
Yeah, and then another crazy random one too that just happens off screen is like, at some point right before I think Father Karras gets really, really brought into like the situation, Burke, the director, dies. Apparently he like fell down these stairs, and that's all we hear at first, right? He fell down the stairs and he broke his neck. And then Father Karras is approached by like this detective character who's not like super prevalent, but like he shows up a few times at like, you know, important points in the movie, and basically tells him the true situation, which is like, yeah, he fell down the stairs and his neck was broken, but it was also turned all the way around. And there's like a 1 in 1,000 chance that can happen. So, you know,
it could happen, but it's not likely.
Yeah. And then at the same time too, a little bit randomly, but we also see that there was like a statue within the church that was defiled, and like they fucking did out the tits with like some crazy like shit, and like, yeah, it was all fucked up, right? They had some crazy stuff.
Gave it a big old long one.
Yeah, so it gets like hardcore fucked up, and so basically this detective puts it together of like, hey, that seems like some witch ritual devil shit. The fact that this dude's head got turned all the way around is kind of crazy. What's going down, Father Karras? What are we doing, buddy? What's happening here? You know, and so. He's like,
This feels like a Blue's Clues episode.
I know, seriously. Yeah. But yeah, it's he gets brought into the mix, right? And again, at first he's like still pretty doubtful. Even when he goes to visit what's the kid's name?
Regan.
Yeah.
Reagan.
When he goes to visit Reagan,
Imagine being named Reagan.
I don't think I would like that very much.
And your nickname being Rags.
Oh God, I know. Yeah.
Hey Rags.
Hey Rags. Yeah, I know.
What's up? What's up, Rags?
Rags, raggedy Rags.
What's up, Ronald Reagan?
Ronald Reagan. Even he's like not really fully willing to give over to the fact that like it might be a demon yet, which again, thoroughly confused by, because I've never heard anybody talk in reverse. Like he records this shit and he acts like it's 2012 where you can just like bust a fucking audio interface on your computer and reverse your audio like it's no big deal, you know? And he's like, oh no, she's talking English. It's just in reverse. Let me play it back for you. I was like, you're fucking dumb.
So funny. That was so funny.
It's ridiculous,
because he's
dude.
sitting there, he's like, yeah, she's speaking like a different language. I don't
in
know.
tongues.
Oh no, she's speaking.
It's in reverse.
English. You just play backwards. See, how do you like?
That was one of the moments where I was like, okay, I get it, what you're trying to do here, but just that's too much. Like that's a little bit too far. Like I was kind of crazy.
Shit was so funny. Yeah, just how quick he's just like, she's speaking English. You know?
He's like, I know. Don't worry.
You just got to play it backwards. You didn't think about that?
You're crazy.
You can't hear the English in there?
Yeah. You know how to reverse an audio on a big old thing like this, don't you?
You can reverse the tape, can't you?
Come on now. Yeah. It's 1973. What are you doing? Oh, yeah.
And then that fool's just casually doing it.
Yeah. So that was one of the ones that made me laugh and trip out a little bit for sure. I was like, okay, all right, buddy. It's an Exorcist for sure. But yeah, he's like, you know, kind of hesitant at first. And then he like explains to the mother when they finally meet, like, I can't just do this. He's like, I gotta go talk to a big boss upstairs and make sure they're down to like approve an exorcism. Like I can't just come in and do this shit, you know? So like that's another hurdle in the way too as well. And so he like starts to try to gather the evidence and stuff like that. And yeah, that was one of the things that like maybe docks a couple points for me is like, it took a little bit too long, I think, for them to accept the fact that like we need to do the title of the movie. Like, you know what I mean? Like that suspension was played like a little bit long for me, but yeah, overall I think it was still good.
I liked it. I think I liked the suspense coming up to it because it was like, especially when Father Karras, like you were saying, was like, hey, an exorcism's a big fucking deal. Yeah. Like I can't do this. Yeah. I gotta get it.
I don't even know how.
Like, I've never done it. Yeah. I don't even know people that have ever done it. You know.
Yeah.
And so I like that aspect because it adds more to the weight of like, oh shit, okay, this exorcism's gonna be fucking crazy. Yeah, definitely. And just, you know, it's creepy when we get the demon when he's get. You know, when Father Karras puts the holy water on him, that's not actually holy water, it's just regular water. Yeah. And he's speaking in tongues, and when you reverse it, he's saying like Marin, blah, 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 blah.
Oh,
blah,
yeah,
blah.
that's right. Yeah.
And then when he goes to the head honcho of the fucking whatever the freaking priest congregation is.
The super priest.
Yeah, the super priest. Yeah. The boss priest.
Nick Fury priest.
Yeah, exactly. He's just like, hey, I'll bring in someone. His name's Father Marin, you know? And he's just like, oh, fuck. The demon was talking about Father Marin. God damn it.
Shit.
God damn it, you
exactly,
know?
Yeah.
So that was, I don't know. Like I said, I like the suspense because an exorcism isn't just like, oh, yeah. Anybody's just going to do that exorcism, you know?
I like that moment, and I like the execution of the moment, and I'm also a fan of the suspense. Like I said, I think it just
takes a little long, yeah.
There was like 2 to 3 moments where I was just like, even as a scientist now, I feel like you would be like, yep, this is outside my field. This is not science. This is crazy. Like
the thing that was like, that got me initially was when you first have like the first doctor visit with Reagan, right?
Oh, yeah.
Initially there's some stuff, blah, blah, blah going on. Yeah. You know, she
comes into like the bed early on and she's like, my bed was shaking. I want to sleep with you, Mom, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So she thinks something's up.
Yeah.
And like, because did your version have like those very quick subliminal cuts where you see like the demon?
There's less of them. From what I heard, he added more. There's only one in the original cut. Because when Father Karras is having the dream.
Okay, because in mine, there's when she's like laying on the fucking like the doctor's like little chair or bench or whatever. There's one like she's like just staring, her eyes are wide open, and it cuts super quick. And you see the demon, and you're just like, oh, this is when shit starts to go down.
That's good.
And when she starts to like act weird, because she starts to act weird, and she like is like laying on the fucking.
Yeah.
Me as a doctor, I'd be like, this kid's fucking weird, dude.
Yeah.
Does someone come in here? Is this kid not fucking weird?
Yeah,
She's acting.
You know, also what's crazy too is that I saw this again from the video that I watched, but the position that she goes into is the position that the statue is holding. Yeah.
Yeah. When she's getting hypnotized, she's in this fucking.
Yeah. It goes into the Pazuzu shit, dude. Yeah.
She's like, I am Pazuzu.
Yeah, I will say I would have preferred
also,
that.
real quick, how weak of a demon are you to this fucking hypnotist, who's probably a fake hypnotist, is like, if you're also in Reagan, you're also hypnotized. And then Pazuzu's like, oh, fuck, I'm hypnotized. God damn it.
Yeah.
And he just like starts talking.
The only if I had to play devil's advocate, I would say that maybe he doesn't have full control over Reagan yet.
Oh, bullshit.
So because she's possessed, he's also possessed or some
shit. Fucking shit.
I mean, like I said, in general, I agree with you. I think it takes too long for the demon, for the people to realize, this demon's too powerful for us.
It's not even that. It's just the fact that
he would get. It's just plot convenience.
He's just like, Reagan's hypnotized, so you're hypnotized.
It's just plot convenience.
And he's just like, I am hypnotized. Fuck.
It's for exposition dump. It's so we can figure out what's happening.
But I was just watching and I was like, if you're this powerful demon, you're just all of a sudden you succumb to the powers of this hypnosis.
Make sense, man. Yeah.
So that was one part where you think about it.
If you think about it too hard,
you start breaking down this was this all-powerful demon.
You could poke some holes.
I don't know how he got fucking this girl possessed, but randomly got this fucking chick possessed.
Yeah.
In this random...
Yeah, so that was one of the things that I was interested in about the extended cut, because as far as I remember, there's only one shot that makes very, very tiny little reference to maybe how Reagan might have been possessed, which is that I think the detective finds a statue, a head of Pazuzu or something like that, on their stairs. He's walking up when he goes to talk to her, right? The mom and shit. And he's like, that's weird. And he bends down, he picks it up and sees it really quickly.
I don't even think it's of Pazuzu. I think it's just clay, because you figure out early
it or something.
So there was a video I was also watching about you can figure out, because they never explicitly say who kills Burke. They're like, oh yeah. But you can piece it together by in the beginning they show you that fucking Reagan plays with clay or whatever, and she makes these clay fucking. Okay. And then at the bottom of the stairs, I think he just finds just a clay thing.
Okay.
So I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think the link is the fact that they have the Ouija board.
Yeah, I guess so.
And she is her parents are going through a divorce or whatever, and she's not seeing the dad. So she's I think the thing is she's depressed. There's the question of oh, hey, maybe she's depressed, which
sure.
Probably is true. She is probably a sad
kid going through divorce.
Who's not actually living at home right now. Yeah. They're on the fucking road because her mom's acting. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that was probably the gateway for Pazuzu to be Ouija board, depressed because her dad's not in the picture, not at home.
Yeah.
Bingo. This is where I'm gonna be. So I think that is the link to.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of this movie is on the viewer of really paying attention to what's fucking.
It's also I think
down.
one of the again I would relate it to all the other movies that we've been talking about these last two episodes, which is I don't think movies back then were very concerned with telling you why everything is happening. Nowadays
we're just used to that.
We're just spoiled with the fact that they give us a reason for everything. It's this person is this color because they went through this, and that is only a possibility and you get a whole world that gets fleshed out because of lore and shit like that, right? Versus again, back then I don't think movies were too concerned with that. They were trying to tell a story right here, right now. So they didn't care about
even simplistically what with Carrie, right? They don't explicitly say, hey, her house is for sale. There's probably some shit going down. But there's the shot where there's literally the for sale sign in front of it, know? So it's I think a lot of what happens nowadays is there's a lot of exposition that happens between characters that could be be put on the viewer a little bit more of hey, this is what's going on in the world of the scene. Pay attention. And I think that's a lot of what this movie is. It's you have the fucking shit that happens in the church with the shit getting defiled, like the statue or whatever, and there's the clay on it. You have Reagan who's playing with the clay. You have blah blah blah, all this shit. So it's like if you sit there as a viewer and you put like 2 and 2 together, you're like, oh, Reagan killed that motherfucker, and she twisted his neck, blah blah. And
see,
all
that's
stuff.
the type of shit where it's like I am not smart enough on my own to figure that stuff out, because like
neither am I
figured out, watching the movie, I figured Reagan probably killed the dude, but I realized that when the directors basically tell you, and they're like, when everyone was fucking turned around,
when everyone else figures it out, you know.
I'm not smart enough to see all those other little hidden hints and stuff like that. So like, like I think we both agree we like lore, you know, and we like explanations, and we like reasons for why things are and stuff like that. So like, that's one of the things that I'm relatively okay with. I don't like to be beaten over the head with it. But I do like explanations for why things are in the world and stuff like that. So that's one of the things where like I do have to like, I'm not able to. It's like, it's interesting because I saw these other dudes that I watch called Trash Taste. It's like another podcast, and one of the dudes was saying like, sometimes I'll watch a breakdown video of something and I'm like, oh, I enjoy that more now. I think this is cooler with context. But then comes the caveat of like, oh fuck, would I be capable of enjoying this thing as much as I now do after having this thing explained to me? Like if I didn't have access to this video, if I didn't have somebody else near me and like literally instant access on the internet to explain to me these little things, would I enjoy it to the extra level that I now do because I have access to those things? And so it's like, it's a little bit of point of conflict for me where I'm like, damn, like I get it, right? Like, yeah, we can have more responsibility put on the viewers from time to time. I think it's really extreme right now, right? So like, obviously we're beat over the head with a lot of stuff with like modern media and shit like that. But I wonder where like the proper threshold is for where human attention span and intelligence is at right now. Because if we just go straight back to that other shit and you just ixnayed like breakdown videos, people wouldn't know what the fuck was going on in movies anymore. You know what I mean? Like if this came out and like, or maybe not, because obviously there's people smart enough, but like that access and the fact that you can just go on YouTube and be like, explain to me the movie I just watched because I didn't understand it, was not a thing when this came out. You know what I mean? So it's true. Like the experience that we're able to have with stuff like this is much, much different than like what it would have been back then.
It's a double-edged sword, for sure, because without it, maybe we ourselves as viewers would grow to the extent of like we are coming up with these theories ourselves because we're sitting there and really actively watching and being like, fuck, okay, I saw that, right? Maybe we make our
own interpretations.
Like, it's something that I'm trying to do actively now, because I was starting to, there's like this 1.5 hour long video of this dude, like, because I've been sitting here and I'm like, okay, I want to sit down and watch movies and actively understand how to analyze them. You know, without feeling like I'm coming on here and being like, I like this and I like that. And I like, you know, because I feel like sometimes we can do that, right? I feel like sometimes we can come on here and be like, I like this and I like that a lot. But I want to come here and really be not super analytical, but at least put that cap on a little bit where I can kind of like take a couple of these things out and like bring them here and be like, oh, I didn't, notice this and notice that. And there was this video of this dude like, it's this 1.5 hour long video, right? Of like, oh, if you want to learn how to analyze videos, I'll go through like what I look for, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, but this first one, right? He's like, you can literally just take this first one and run with that and not watch the rest of this video and you'd be fine. It's just like, you literally have to watch the movie and just ask yourself why, right? Because
why is this happening? Why is this shot being done? Why is this character doing that?
I think a lot of the times we like to chalk things up to like a happy coincidence of like, oh, this just happened to be like that in the scene because maybe things work themselves out that way. And maybe sometimes things happen like that. But I think something that I'm trying to get myself into the mindset of is like everything that you're seeing on screen is intentional, whether it be the way this person like set their phone on the desk and like maybe it's like this and the next scene it's like that, like that is very like intentional, you know? So it's like that's what I'm trying to watch, like how I'm trying to watch the movies. And I think this is one of those things where it's like it's super intentional.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
They show you the statue with the fucking clay on it, and then they show you like, oh, Reagan's like, oh, mom, look at what I fucking made. And in the background, you can see her with all the fucking clay things and stuff like that, you know? So it is fucking, damn, it's that time already? Oh, no, he's on it today, dude. He's fucking.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's getting down.
He's
getting down, dude.
Yeah, I also feel like it is also just like I guess like circumstantial to like the type of podcast that we do, right? Because we're almost like a hybrid blend of like first reactions and like, I would say surface level tip of the iceberg analytical, right? Because like if you want to make analytical shit, you gotta watch that same movie a lot. Because like I think it's a shame. I personally consider it a shame to go into a first viewing trying to be analytical. I think even people who analyze movies like take that first viewing to just watch the movie.
Oh yeah, you have to.
Then you go back and you try to process everything, which is obviously a lot more time consuming. You know, like. We only pick 2 movies a week, and sometimes even I find it hard to find the time, you know, like this week and a lot of other weeks we push a day or whatever because it's like, fuck, I didn't finish this one yet, or you know what I mean? So like, it's hard. It's a lot more time consuming, and it is a lot more active because I think like in general, we have kind of, I think movies are at the core like kind of a passive experience because you don't have anything to do with them. You're just sitting there watching them happen to you, right? So they're not really an active experience, but you can almost make them, you can make an active experience out of like your interaction with the movie when you try to actually analyze stuff and like be in it and be, like you said, ask why and shit like that. But like it's just so common nowadays to just you watch a movie once and then I don't know, maybe I'll watch it again in like 5-10 years if like a buddy wants to watch it, or if my girlfriend wants to watch it, or if whatever, you know what I mean? Like I don't think it's as common to really do the work that it takes to be an analytical like reviewer like that. It's just fucking hard, man.
Oh no,
do some work.
I was very much like, up until like a few years ago, like very much of the mindset of like, hey man, I just watch a movie one time and that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And like, oh shit, that kind of surprised me. But like now, since I've been getting more into like just what it takes to make a movie, what it takes to craft a story. You know, I've definitely been more intrigued of like when I watch something a couple times and I notice like the little things, you know? And it's been nice, bro. Like to me, it like adds a little bit more of like, wow, like this person really took the extra step to like, I watched a video, like I have been meaning to watch like Christopher Nolan's Memento.
Oh yeah.
But there's like a video of how he breaks down of how like the timeline of the movie goes down. And I was like, fuck, dude.
How'd you think of this?
Like that's like not even like I don't even think he initially thought of it like in the way, because like the interviewer asked him like, can you put, because from what I gather of what Memento is like, right? It's a movie of a collection of like, you have stuff that's in the present and you have stuff that's in the past. Stuff that is black and white is a little bit more objective. Stuff that is in color is a little bit more subjective. But as you get towards the end of the movie, the lines start to blur where stuff that is in color that was subjective turns to be a little bit more objective, and vice versa, blah, 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 and stuff like that. And so the guy like asked him like, oh, can you like just map it out on like a timeline? Like, okay, here's the beginning and here's the end. And he's like, dang, I haven't really like tried to visually see like how this looks. But he's like,
we'll try it.
He's like, yeah, I guess this would look like a clothespin, you know, where he draws like a fucking like a loop like that, where it just kind of like is almost like a horseshoe.
Yeah.
And like the part where it goes around, he's like, this is like the end, and like right here at the top, that's like kind of the beginning, and like here at the bottom, like here at the top, you have all the stuff that's in color. And here on the bottom, you have all the stuff that's in black and white. And it kind of cuts, you know, in between like that. Where like the stuff in black and white is like moving forward. And the stuff in color is like moving backward. And we're like, the end of the movie is really not at like where the tip of the bow is. But it's kind of like just right before that. And I was watching that, I was like, fuck.
Yeah, it's so crazy because that's
interesting.
Where like the analytical shit comes in, right? Because like you could ask that same question to like moviegoers, right? And let's say there's one who somebody likes to analyze things and one who just watches shit casually, and it's like there's actually an easy answer to what is the timeline of the movie. Because you could say, the thing that I saw first is the beginning of the movie. The thing that I saw last is the end of the movie. That's the timeline of the movie. I just watched it happen.
Yeah.
But then there's that deeper second layer of like, okay, but what's the timeline of the story? The events that are occurring within here are obviously not chronological. What is like going down or whatever. It's a crazy world, dude. It's a whole fucking.
It's beautiful looking. It's beautiful realizing that something like movies go deeper than just like what you visually consume the first time of like, oh, this crazy fucking story, this moving pictures fucking story. But then when you realize like the themes that are going on underneath and all this stuff, I don't know. It's
what's wild to me too is that like how like.
And I don't want to sound like I don't want us to sound like we're the craziest fucking movie critics
because
and
that's
shit
what
like
I was
that,
about
you know?
to say, right? Is it's like I personally think that like I tend to. Not all the time, but I think more often than not fall on the camp that I'm about to talk about, which is that like it's interesting to me that like that's not necessary to be like a good movie, right? Because for some people that's a turnoff. Like maybe they just wanted to watch Memento the first time and they're like, that was a good fucking movie. I liked it when I just watched it right now. You're gonna tell me about all this convoluted fuck that. I don't care about all that. The movie I just watched is good. Don't overcomplicate it for me. I liked it. That's it. So it's interesting too, like the different type of reactions that people can have to the same thing. Like you know what I mean? Like somebody can take that and cut deeper and go harder and be like, wow, this is so interesting. But for somebody else, it's like, that's boring. I don't care. I liked the package that I got. The first thing that I saw. It's such a fucking wild.
And what's great in
landscape.
those, when you start to break down the layers, sometimes that things that you think are intentional probably aren't
maybe
intentional.
Not. No, yeah.
And it just so
we can
happens
add our own
like
meaning to
exactly.
shit,
And it just so happens maybe Christopher Nolan's like, fuck, dude, I didn't really think that too deep into it, but that sounds cool. So let's go with that.
If that's what you want to make, because that's the other great thing too, right? Is it's like, and I'm a big believer in this, is that create your own fucking headcanon. Everything that you watch is fucking made up anyways. So if you don't like how something went,
and you probably like it way more how you think about it in your fucking head.
Just make it that way. That's fine. That's okay. These all exist in your imagination anyways. Movies are not real. They're a trick of light and images that create stuff in our brains. Make it how you want. That's fine. You know, like create your own headcanon of shit. It's cool. It's awesome.
Oh yeah.
We have a superpower to do that shit, bro. That's some brain power right there.
But yeah, The Exorcist.
Yeah, I know. Super long tangent about
it's all good. I
liked
liked it.
It was a good conversation.
I liked it.
Yes.
But yes, The Exorcist. When we finally get to the scenes where they're doing the exorcism.
Yeah.
Fucking intense, bro.
That was when I was for sure like, yo,
intense.
priests are kind of dope. Their school's getting down. They're going hard.
I like when he's like, when you first meet Father Marin, right?
Yeah.
When he comes in, sickest fucking scene. First of all, comes
Good
up in the
shot.
Yeah. You know, iconic shot.
Just his silhouette across
the silhouette,
house.
the house, the light, the fog, the fucking music.
Yeah, it's a good jam, dude. That's a banger.
I like that it's so good, but it's not overused.
You see it, you hear it like twice. That's it.
Bro.
In the beginning, I think at some scene with like the mom, and then that part.
To me, that is the telltale of an iconic, not just score, but just song in general, where you hear it twice and you're like,
you already know it.
You're like, oh, that's from The Exorcist, bro.
You know it. Yeah.
That is from like Carrie. Carrie had one too when she like goes like in fucking insane.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's
super iconic.
It was like sick to the point where like my producer brain went on and I was just like, someone samples this right here.
There was a couple times in both movies where I was also just like, yo,
if someone samples this right here, throw some crazy drums on there.
Bangers in this shit. Like, yeah. No,
throw some drums on here.
Yeah.
Get Future on this shit. It was gonna go crazy.
They get down.
Yeah, but yeah, it was the exorcism scenes were intense because you have just a lot of shit going on. You have a lot of very like there's a lot of like sensory overload going on in the fucking exorcism. You have the prayers going on. You have fucking Reagan as fucking Pazuzu,
just like spewing like hardcore shit,
spewing hatred, changing fucking voices and saying this,
turning into
turning
into Father Karras' mom's and like
exactly
and stuff,
and it's just like progressively like the priest is getting like louder to really emphasize like the prayers and everything, and it's just like I can tell why when people watch this back then. If I was the age I am now in 1973, and I went to go watch this, I'd be fucking scared out of my mind too.
Yeah, I'd probably be freaked out.
I'd be like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I just saw this 12-year-old girl get fucking just hooked up to all these freaking medical machines.
Yeah.
And all these tests are on her just for her to be possessed by a fucking demon. Her to get cuts all over herself.
Yeah.
Help me is fucking.
It's all fucking just inflamed and puffed up and like starts to turn green and like sunken eyes and different colored eyes.
Her head turns all the way around. Yeah. Oh my gosh, she's levitating off the bed. She's fucking slamming back. I actually saw that the actress actually got hurt from that shit.
Oh, crazy.
Like she had like a back problem after that from fucking doing shit like that.
Apparently she also hates the cold because of like just cannot stand ever being cold because of that. Like,
also the mom fucking had a back problem after that because when she fucking there's that scene where right before like all the exorcism stuff when the doctors are still trying to do their shit and I think I think the person who was hypnotized wasn't in there yet, but the mom's going in there trying to check on her. She gets fucking like I think that's when she's fucking stabbing herself with the fucking the crucifix, right?
Yeah.
And the cross and the fucking
that's when she like pushes the mom back and like closes the door with the dresser.
And like slams her to the ground. So
yeah.
Apparently the fucking whichever dude was pulling the strings just fucking pulled him like way too fucking hard and just like
jacked her up.
Just jacked her shit up after that.
See, that's the kind of shit where I'm like just a little bit torn on because like do I appreciate the conclusion and the final product that comes from all these things? Yes. But when I hear the context of what it took to achieve those things, I feel like it's a little bit more difficult to swallow. And it's like it's one of those weird things where people are just gonna be like, that's old Hollywood, that's how it was. But
that's how it was back in my day.
But it's like, damn, if literally anybody anywhere, let alone a director on a Hollywood movie set, fired a gun to put somebody in like the proper mindset for like a scene, like that's psychotic. That's some crazy scary shit. You know what I mean? Like it's a trippy like.
It's literally is one of those things that's just a product of the times.
Yeah,
like
I feel like that.
You couldn't really get away with that shit.
No, definitely
today,
not at all.
But back then, fuck, dude, that was just the thing,
lawless, Yeah, that was another thing too that I felt with like the fear factor, and like I think you've talked about this a little bit. I think you're talking about when I came back from the bathroom, which is just like when I was leading up to watching it, I like saw a trailer, and like I think I read an article about it too, and like a lot of what I was hearing about it, and like even just a lot of like the vibe that I got from it in general growing up was like, bro, this is one of the scariest movies of all time, like maybe even the scariest movie of all time. Nah, it's not by today's standards. It is definitely not. Again, historical context in 1973, I could maybe understand it if you are a very religious person, which is obviously a lot more common back then, like we talked about. But like, I don't know, some of it is just like at times it's just a little bit too outdated, you know? It's like the same thing when we watch anything that's like lauded for its special effects from the 70s. Like if you put yourself in the right seat,
Nightmare on Elm Street, I think it's just like one of those ones.
You're like, okay, yeah, in the 80s, like holy shit, terrifying, that's hardcore. Now, little campy, little cheesy.
Yeah. When I was growing up, my parents were just like, fuck, Nightmare on Elm Street. Shit was fucking scary.
But we've had shit
hated
like,
watching that shit.
But we've had shit like The Conjuring, the Nun movies, Paranormal Activities,
dude.
All kinds of shit that has really, like, to be fair, built upon the ground that a movie like this laid, right? Not to say that it doesn't have its place in history. I'm not saying that. But at this point in time, I think it's okay to say that The Exorcist is no longer and has not been the scariest movie of all time for a long time.
It's more intense than it is scary.
Even then, I don't think it's the most intense movie of all time. Like, I don't think it even lives up to like a lot. Like, the thing is this, right? Which is that like, I like this movie, okay? The criticisms that I'm aiming at it right now are not to say that like I completely dislike the movie, but I think there are certain cases in times like this where the thing we were just talking about, which is like we have a chance to appreciate certain things from the past, can also have the reverse effect where it's like things can get so hyped up over this long period of time where sometimes you can come back to it and be like, okay, I guess I get it. But not really, though. I can think of like another movie that scared me more. Or I can think of another movie that was more intense. Or this or that, or whatever it might be, you know? So it's a trippy double-edged sword for sure.
Yeah.
I felt that with this movie, and it was one of the things that like I was slightly let down about. It was like I wanted to be more scared than I was, you know?
Again, it's just hard when we've
seen so much shit.
We grew up in just the jump scare era.
That's true.
Like,
yeah, that's true.
Where everything, like every movie, it doesn't matter. Like it's just trying to fucking just boom.
But
boom,
see,
scary.
The other thing too is it's like even psychological stuff that I've seen from the past and nowadays, I think would scare me more than this does, or would be more intense than this does. And again, that could be due to the fact that like maybe I fall more on the reason side of stuff, right? And the fear factor in this is if you're more of the religious belief side, right, of type of things or whatever. But like, I think The Shining is freakier than this movie is.
Oh yeah.
You know, I think 2001 is freakier than this movie is, and that came out even before this, you know, and The Shining came out after, and so it's just this, and it could just be preference, you know, it's subjective. Art is an objective thing or whatever, but yeah, I was just that the fear factor part of this movie, 100% I understand due to the overhyped of like the long period of time that it's been out and I haven't seen it, did let me down a little bit. I wanted to be more scared than I was.
Yeah,
all.
I feel you.
Yeah, that's all.
I feel you.
Yeah.
I was definitely more.
I was just like, oh shit, that's crazy.
Yeah, I would agree. I was more freaked out when I watched 2001 and when I watched The Shining, just because I think a lot of those are more like realistic and grounded than, you know, than The Exorcist. Like again, it is like rooted in like reason versus religion, but like you start to get a little bit more outside of just like the realistic realm of, you know, what we're used to.
Yeah, sure.
When it's just like, oh yeah, this chick's levitating off. Not that shit like
and we see
can't
that
happen.
Yeah.
Again, not that.
Who knows? Who knows what's happening?
I think it could.
I agree.
I think that's
I
why
agree.
I get a little bit freaked out a little bit more, just because I think it could happen.
Sure.
Like I really think some possession shit could fucking
Absolutely.
go down.
Yeah.
You know, so there is always that in the back of my mind of like, I do believe in ghosts.
Yeah.
And fuck, there's got to be some bad motherfuckers out there.
Yeah, they're trying to fuck
you
with
know?
you. Yeah.
But like The Shining, when it's just like, fuck, being in this big ass hotel
That's better
by yourself.
That's better to me and more scary to me of the idea of like an evil spirit that would try to fuck with you.
Being alone in a big building is more tangible.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like it's more.
It's something that you can
relate to.
You can
I've
really
never
put
been
yourself.
possessed.
You can really put yourself in the situation of being
Yeah.
in a big, scary,
Yeah.
you know, creepy
Yeah.
fucking building versus like, you know.
I've never been possessed. I've never had voices come out of me. I have been in a hotel and heard creaks in the night and been like, oh shit, what the fuck's going on? Like, yeah, so you're right. It might be relatability for sure. Yeah. But yeah, it was one of the few things that I was like kind of tripped out about. Also, another thing that I was like not disappointed about, but definitely sad about was like the resolution of the movie. I don't know what I was expecting. I kind of figured that Father Merrin was going to die when he sent Karras out of the room. I was like, okay, he's not going to make it in there by himself, right? So that wasn't too crazy. I was surprised when Father Karras died and like took the demon and like hops out the window or whatever, you know? Because I was like, damn, I thought that fool was going to make it. I thought it was going to be like, and maybe that's just like, you know, again, the world in which we live in now makes me think.
Does it explicitly say he dies though?
He fucking dies, bro. He fucking hops out a window and falls down the stairs, and then homeboy comes up to him and is like, "You want to say your last shit before you go?" That fool's dead. No way he survived. I don't know what happens in the sequels if they try to bring him back at all, but if you know, typical rules of the movie/TV stuff, I saw him fall down those stairs and crack his neck. I think that's good enough proof to say that he's dead. You know what I mean? But anyway, I was again just like a little bit bummed about that part because I thought he was gonna make it out by the end of it, you know. So that was pretty intense to just see him be like, "Fuck you, come into me, motherfucker," and then he does, and you have the quick flash of him like, you know, getting the pudgy face and the green eyes and all that shit. And then it cuts back, and then homeboy just hops out the fucking window, tumbles down the stairs, probably cracked his neck, snapped his head, blood spewing everywhere and shit, and then he's gone.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So what would you rate The Exorcist?
I would say like an 8. Because I liked Carrie more. So just in terms of like reference, I'm not going to give it like the same or a better score. So I would say like an 8. Yeah.
I would say like an 8.5. I think I'm on the same realm as Carrie. I do see like the historical significance in terms of like just being the building block for like modern day horror movies and stuff like that. So I think that does add into my ranking a little bit, you know, where I'm just like, oh, okay. So not saying that without this we couldn't have gotten this, but this definitely accelerated, you know, what we got today, you know?
It makes me laugh, and it also makes me happy to know that like we have, I think, between the two of us at least, we have diverse enough opinions on the podcast, because there has been other reviews where I will give something a higher score due to that fact and you won't. So good job. We're doing so good, dude. I like it.
Yeah, it was cool. And then like I think just with the director's cut as well, there is a little bit, a couple more of those like subliminal, just like cut scenes that I think add to just like the creepiness to it a little bit more.
I was sad not to see more of the demon face because I rewinded when I watched it because of like, I just really enjoyed the image. The makeup, the shot is so good, like pure black, and then like the really white kind of bluish faceplate with like the really intense face and stuff. I loved it so much. It was such a good shot.
There is another part where I think there's one part where like the electricity is acting super funky or whatever, and the mom is walking through. She's like, oh my God, you know, and there's one part where like the lights and stuff like flash and there's like a small version of that demon head just like, and it just like pops up and it's just like,
oh, nice.
You know,
yeah, that's
and it's just like cool because every time that happens, it's like, oh, the demon's here.
Yeah.
You know,
it subliminally puts the presence in the movie.
He's hanging out. He's around here somewhere, you know?
Yeah. That's
and then I think there's one time where like the statue face of Pazuzu flashes just like really quick. I don't know. There's just like little things like that. There's also like they added in the scene where she like walks down the stairs like like backwards like that.
Yeah.
And initially they had filmed that for the original movie, but they didn't have a way to take out like the wires and stuff yet. So you could just still see them, so they didn't add it in the movie. But then when they could digitally take them out, then they did that. And that shit was fucking creepy because she just fucking just walks down there and then she's just like like opens her mouth and like there's fucking blood coming out, and I was like, oh fuck.
That's crazy because that is a scene that I've heard. It's interesting because it's like that's a scene that I've heard about and I expected to be in the movie. So I was surprised. Yeah, so I was surprised when I didn't see it. So it's cool to know that like that's a second generation type of thing for like this movie's history. You know, the first viewing didn't get that. Yeah,
but yeah, it was fucking.
Yeah, that's hardcore.
It was cool. I liked it. I've thoroughly enjoyed, you know, taking a step back in time and seeing like the building blocks to a lot of what we enjoy like nowadays, you know, because like there's a lot of 2001 references like everywhere. Like Loki episode 1, I'm pretty sure had a 2001 fucking 100%.
References. They had the house shit with the door.
Exactly.
Definitely.
There's a bunch of exorcist stuff, like even in like, you know, stupid shit like I think Scary Movie 2 where they do like exorcist type stuff and the fucking chick just like pees on the floor.
Oh yeah,
like that's where I know that from fucking Scary Movie, and the fact that I see that and being like, oh, that's weird, you know, like that's creepy. Chick's just like, you're gonna die up there, and then just fucking just starts peeing, and you're just like, oh, that's fucking creepy, you know. But yeah, a lot of creepy shit, you know. The let Jesus fuck you. Like that shit was creepy.
Yeah, those are hardcore.
Your mom sucks cocks in hell was creepy.
Yeah.
The lick me.
The voices are just really good, I think. Those are one of like the most effective things.
And then the girl just being the actor, like the actress, fucking just doing all that shit.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah.
Crazy.
You know what's trippy is again, random like little fun facts or whatever is like the voice originally, the director, I keep forgetting his name. It's like William something. I think like
Friedkin or something like that.
Yeah, there you go. Originally wanted to get Linda Blair's voice and alter it for the demonic voices, but he wasn't convinced enough. He didn't think it was playing well. So he got another actor to come in and do it. And originally she didn't get credit on the movie, and she had to like sue later, if I'm not mistaken, to get her like credit reestablished, which does appear, I think, in the cut that you saw. But it, like for a long time, for I think like 10 years, she just didn't get credit for the fact that like she provided the voice for this shit after all. And she went ham. Like apparently she was sober after being like an alcoholic, and like would drink whiskey to like get herself hardcore. She would throw up between takes to like get her voice all hoarse. Like all this crazy shit.
I saw that she would like smoke and shit like that
chain
too.
smoke and shit. All this crazy shit, and like just didn't even get credit for it at first, which is like fucked up. Obviously, again, one of the like
some of the most iconic lines.
Yes.
Let Jesus fuck you.
Yeah, and the other one too that's crazy is it's not Linda Blair during the vomit scenes, the projectile vomit scenes, because the rig was so intense that the actor who was going to do it, the person that they switched her out with, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, was the person that they used for the demon face, the iconic one. It's the same actress. She stood in because Linda Blair like either couldn't do it or didn't want to or whatever, but like the mechanism that they had made it so that she couldn't close her mouth or swallow for the whole time that they were shooting that shit. And granted, they did get it in one shot because apparently the proper aim was supposed to hit the actor in the chest, right? But it hit him in the face. Like
got him in the mouth.
Candid reaction. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, who knows how long it went on for, but that's also hardcore as well, too. Like some crazy shit. And I think she sued unsuccessfully, unfortunately. She tried to be like, yo, give me some credit. Where's my shit? Where's my like whatever? And they were like, nah, sorry, not going to happen.
Fuck. See, that's crazy that how do you keep going with the scene when something that's not supposed to happen, just like that throw up, that just like pea soup or whatever, just fucking just gets shot in your mouth.
Sign of a great actor right there. You roll with the fucking punches. The show must go on, as they say. Yeah.
Gosh, but yeah, The Exorcist. Go and watch it if you guys haven't watched it. If you guys are horror buffs and you're like, I don't watch The Exorcist,
You should probably watch it.
you should watch it. Understand where your roots come from.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And
especially if you like paranormal and supernatural like horror, then it's for sure.
And go watch Carrie too.
Yeah,
go watch
Carrie's
these.
awesome.
These were fucking great movies.
Yeah.
Great motherfucking
Agreed.
movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, that was episode number 77.
Damn.
We're getting after it. But yeah,
Crazy.
guys, that was episode number 77. Go and follow us on Instagram and subscribe to us on YouTube. Both 2High4TV, 2OHIGH4TV. And you know what that is. That's the number 4, motherfuckers. You fucking write that shit out. You fucking sign it out. You don't spell it. You don't spell FOR. You don't spell FOUR. You don't spell FORE.
Nobody does that.
Fuck.
Nobody spells.
Fuck you if you do that
That's
shit.
crazy.
Yeah, it's the number 4, motherfuckers. The number 4.
Number 4.
Symbol.
Cuatro.
The symbol. Go and check that shit out. And yes, go and subscribe to us on YouTube. Go and hit that notification bell so you can get notified when the episodes come up. They come out every single Friday at 8 a.m. So you guys can go into your weekend with the fresh, few hours of just mindless fucking
watch
shit.
Your car rides, someone to listen to when you're doing some house
chores. If you don't got friends, let us be your friends that you can just sit down.
We want to be your friend
and hang out with. Exactly.
Yeah.
And yes, go and you can see the full YouTube video. You can see the full podcast videos there on YouTube. You can see our breakdowns of like Loki and Ahsoka, and then specific things. If you guys want the specific, like say for this episode, if you just want the Carrie review up there, let me know. I'll take out the Carrie review and I'll just throw it up on YouTube so you can click and watch that.
I thought that I had as well too is we can figure out how to do the timestamps.
Oh yes.
So if you do want to just watch the Carrie review, just click the little Carrie button in the timestamp menu.
Exactly.
Jumps you straight to the point in that part.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, go and follow us on all that. Join us next week where we're gonna fucking talk about the Scooby-Doo fucking movies.
Oh yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm down. I'm ready, dude.
Yeah, we're gonna round out this month of October with.
Is this gonna be our last October week? We'll have one more after this, right?
No, because this one gets posted. Will get posted on the 20th.
Oh dang. Okay.
And then
Actually,
so the next one we do on that Sunday,
That
which will
makes
get
sense,
posted on like the 27th.
Yeah, because that next one will be our third week, right?
Maybe we do one more
Honorary.
Honorary,
An
you
honorary
know.
Halloween one.
So yeah, an honorary Halloween one where you guys
Yeah.
can take it into the month of November and be like,
Yeah.
you know, take your last,
for all of you out there who are not willing to get into the Christmas spirit right away, you keep your Halloween decorations up a little bit longer.
We'll give you one more week. So next week we'll do Scooby Doo, and then the last week we'll round it out with something
else scary.
with something pretty fucking solid.
One
Maybe we do
more
like
spooky.
Have you ever seen The Purge?
No, I haven't seen The Purge before. Yeah.
Ethan Hawke's in the first one.
Okay, I'd be down because I think we've covered our bases as far as pre-2000s. The horror of different genres, psychological thrillers.
Yeah, because last year we did like Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
We did Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
And even this year, last week we did, Shining in 2001. This one was, still more 70s stuff. So yeah, I'm down to do post 2000s now. We can jump ahead.
Maybe we do a couple Ethan Hawke ones. Maybe we do The Purge, and maybe we do Black Phone.
Oh yeah, because I haven't seen that.
I haven't
yet,
seen
and
that
I
one.
wanted to. So I'm down for that.
Hell yeah!
Cool.
So next week we got Scooby Doo movies, the live action motherfucking Scooby Doo movies.
Classics. If you're a 2000s kid, if you're late 90s kids, yeah.
The classics. And then the week after that, we'll do a couple of newer, era horror genre Halloween type-ish movies with the first Purge and
some Black Phone.
But yeah, guys, that was episode number 77. Tune in next week for episode number 78. And this is us saying motherfucking bye.
Adios. Goodbye.
Your mother's a coxing out.